Hello. Welcome to the Fanfic Majesty. If you want more content, you can follow me on Patreon. I will be uploading more content on there that will be exclusive. The link is in the description. Please support me. 4 Fu 076. The Moon. It was just made by hand, 6/6. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The Sword of Creation. You're kidding, Obito. Didn't you fall into my trick just now? Garp retorted, pupils puckered. But his heart is heavy. Shao organization will never let it go without reason. HMPH, you can try it. Obito obviously doesn't want to do more nonsense. When words fall, people arrive. Swing down the sword. It all happened so fast. Garp couldn't react at all, he could only wave and parry. Boom. An irresistible force suddenly passed through his arm to his whole body. Puff. Just a photo. Garp vomited blood and flew out. Damn. Die to me, Obito. The golden light suddenly appeared, and the big Buddha Sengoku arrived. Grasp. Dealing with Sengoku, Obito didn't even swing the spear in his hand. Left hand truth-seeking ball easily defended. It seems that you still don't have a deep understanding of this gap in strength. Obito snorted coldly. Chakra surged suddenly. A chakra dragon in the left hand rushed out suddenly, and directly lifted the Buddha Sengoku away. Gravity knife. There was a loud shout, and gravity suddenly hit Obito. Humph. Don't use this kind of pediatric method, just try to deal with me. Advertisement. Shenluo Tianzhong. Obito looked disdainful, and spoke indifferently. The power of Nagato. The empty face was horrified, and he cried out in surprise. Even the gestures and moves are the same. Wrong. My power. That guy Nagato can't match. I am the power of 6 paths. 6 paths. Obito shook his head and explained. 6 paths. Aokiji looked puzzled. He had heard these 2 words from Obito many times. Sage of 6 paths. What the heck? That's right. Sage of 6 paths, God of creation and salvation. This is my source of strength. Obito nodded nonchalantly. How is it possible to create and save the world? How can there be such an existence as Sage of 6 paths in this world, and there is no record in history? Kizaru murmured with blank eyes. Isn't there in this world? It doesn't mean there are none outside this planet. Obito shook his head, speaking indifferently. Voice down. Whether it's the injured Garp, or the knocked out Sengoku, the Marines are waiting for you. They all looked at each other in blank dismay. Doesn't exist in this world, doesn't mean it doesn't exist outside the planet. At this moment, their eyes were instantly opened, and their faces were bright. That's right, it's just what you think. From a distant alien planet in ancient times, a person named Akatsuki Kagaya came to Earth. Advertisement. At this time, Obito also had a playful thought, and he held his temper and started talking from the beginning. Ancient times. My god, how far away that must have been. The green bull's face was horrified, full of disbelief. She fell in love with the people of this planet and gave birth to children. The eldest son is Otsutsuki Yuya, the founder of the ninja world, Sage of 6 paths, and the second son is Otsutsuki Hamura. And Otsutsuki Yuya is the real name of the Sage of 6 paths. Of course, actually there is another son, a guy from our Akatsuki organization. Black Zetsu, but not born of reproduction, but born of will. Hearing this, everyone was even more shocked. Akatsuki organization has people since ancient times, living monsters to the present. And the brother of Sage of 6 paths, as Obito said. The amount of information is incredible. But Otsutsuki Kagaya's approach is more extreme. She often sacrifices human beings. In order to resist the pursuit of alien creatures, she wants to make human sacrifices into white Zetsu. 17. Let the sacred tree absorb people's spirits to create a large number of living weapons white Zetsu to deal with future disasters. But his son Yuya and Shirt don't agree with her. Wow. When Obito said this, the audience went into an uproar again. Alien invasion. Even the creation girl Shendu is afraid of existence. Obito. Those alien creatures, have they chased them? Sengoku got up from the ground with a serious face and made a sound of doubt. At this moment, he still has no intention of continuing to fight. Every word that Obito said makes him restless. Not yet. Obito shook his head. Next moment. Everyone's hearts suddenly tightened. Does that mean they will have to face such an existence soon? Advertisement. That is simply not a force that this world can resist. Everyone has different thoughts, thousands of thoughts, and their expressions are surprisingly the same. Equally ugly. Not long after, Yuya, who discovered the truth, opposed the practice of enshrining the sacred tree. In order to protect human beings, Yuya and Hamura repeatedly asked Kagaya to stop enshrining the sacred tree. Kagaya was very disappointed to see that her child could not understand her painstaking efforts, so she planned to regain the chakra that was distributed to the 2 children. Obito ignored everyone's reaction and continued to speak. Then, the 2 of Yuya and Kitamura teamed up to fight Mother Kagaya. The sacred tree turned into 10 tails to protect Kagaya, but at this time Yuya and Hamura's power surpassed Kagaya's. The two used the power of yin and yang to seal their mother with the planetary devastation, and the stones on the earth flew into the air to form a spherical stone, and then flew to the sky that no one could reach, forming the moon. At the same time, Yuya also sealed the empty shell of 10 tails that had lost its power on the moon, and then Yuya released infinite Tsukuyomi, freeing the people wrapped in the sacred tree. The voice fell, and the audience was silent. Their mouths were wide open, and they couldn't name a single minister. The moon in the sky. The moon is man-made. Planetary devastation at the Six Paths level. Is this still the power that humans can possess? 4.6 The moon is man-made, so is the earth. For a moment, everyone looked at each other in blank dismay, dumbfounded. Don't be surprised. Strictly speaking, Otsutsuki Kagaya is an alien. It cannot be judged by human common sense. As the heir of Kagaya, Sage of Six Paths cannot be judged by common sense. Obito shook his head, his tone indifferent. But now I am the second Six Paths. It also has the power to summon 10 tails, activate infinite Tsukuyomi, and even an artificial moon. With this explanation, you should be able to understand the power gap between us well. Marines. Obito grinned, revealing a sinister grin. 077. You are not qualified to negotiate conditions, hand over Vegapunk 1/6. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. What is the purpose of your organization? Sengoku looked serious at this moment, and asked aloud. I remember you have asked this question many times. Of course our Shao organization is for peace. Six Paths Obito smiled and said. Piece of shit. For the sake of peace, directly obliterate 200,000 Marines. Have you considered the family behind those 200,000 Marines? Hearing this, Garp gritted his teeth and angrily refuted Kaido. Since I chose to enter Marine, shouldn't you be ready to die? When you Marine killed pirates, did you consider the family behind them? Six Paths Obito looked disdainful. Humph. You are making excuses. Pirates are killing civilians indiscriminately. They deserve death. Garp suppressed the anger in his heart and replied. Pirates kill civilians, indeed. But did your Marines kill fewer civilians? Obito shook his head, sarcastically. Our Marine exists for justice, how could we kill innocent people randomly? 20. Garp twisted his angry face into a raging lion. Justice. Stop joking. Celestial dragons don't treat civilians as human beings at all. How many civilians die in the Holy Land every day? You Marines don't know how many are there. As those of you who rely on the world government, it is not an exaggeration to say that you are the lackeys of celestial dragons. You who are helping the evildoers have no intention of talking about justice. Six Paths Obito grinned sarcastically. As his voice fell. Advertisement. Everyone present was at a loss for words. I don't know how to refute it. Just because what the other party said is indeed true. The reason why celestial dragons can show off their might is because of the world government. The Marine institution is also under the jurisdiction of the world government. In other words, celestial dragons is backed by the two mountains of Marine and world government. That's all. This war is over. Sengoku, who had recovered, opened his mouth slowly with a pitiful expression on his face. Sengoku. Marshal Sengoku. Voice down. Everyone present looked at each other in blank dismay. One by one you looked at me and I looked at you. Can't stop being amazed. Want to surrender. You Marines still have a lot of fighting power. Didn't that Garp just hurt me? Are you ready to give up? Is it because of the recognition of the power gap? Obito was also taken aback for a moment, and then he uttered his doubts. Who said our Marine was going to surrender? We Marine must make you pay. Garp's complexion was extremely gloomy, and he roared angrily. Garp, stop. Continuing will only add more casualties. Sengoku sighed and shook his head dissuadingly. At this moment, he lost his will to fight, and suddenly seemed to have aged many years again. Sengoku. Garp was about to explode, but then he saw the helplessness and regret in the opponent's eyes. He had never seen Sengoku in such a state, and the words he wanted to say were stuck in his throat. Surrender. It's not impossible. Advertisement. However, as losers, you must agree to a request from our Shao organization. Obito rolled his eyes and nodded calmly. In my heart, I reconfirmed the plan issued by the adult this time. Win the summit war and declare dawn to the world. In fact, the deep meaning contained in it, in fact, the adult doesn't care about Marine's life or death. What? Obito, don't bully me too much. Garp jumped out again at this time, his face was full of anger. Then let's fight, grind and chirp. You Marines. Obito grinned and spread his hands. Yan Ran was ready to go to war. This Obito, there's nothing I can do about it. You also know that the important decision-making power of our Marine is not in our hands. Instead, the world government is in charge. Sengoku shook his head, looking bitter. It's not a big condition. Our Akatsuki organization is just one person who needs your Marine. Obito shook his head, softening his tone. People. Sengoku was taken aback, not knowing why. Vegapunk. This time, however, it wasn't Obito who answered him. But a strange woman. Are you Orochimaru? Garp was amazed. Although it was the first time they met, he saw through the identity of the visitor at a glance. Snake-shaped facial pattern, plus that long tongue shaped like a snake tongue. Vegapunk. What is the purpose of your organization? Advertisement. Sengoku looked solemn and asked. There are thousands of thoughts in my heart, wildly guessing the intention of Shisha organization. Stop guessing, Sengoku. It's just that I need a deputy with a high IQ. The corners of Orochimaru's mouth curled up, and he licked his lips. This. Sengoku looked very serious. Vegapunk is no less than a marine admiral. The human gigantic experiment found the blood factor. Create the first man-made 250 devil fruit. Marine warships across the Calm Belt, and more, brought to them by Vegapunk. He is 500 years ahead of today's technology, and is known by the world as a scientist who has surpassed human wisdom for 500 years. If you hand it over, it will definitely weaken Marine greatly. Obito, change the condition. Except for this, it really doesn't work. Sengoku showed bitterness, shook his head and refused. Sengoku, when did you have the illusion that Marine can talk to us about the conditions? Orochimaru's eyes gradually turned cold, and his momentum gradually increased. Hand over Vegapunk. Otherwise, I will kill you, and our Shao organization will find his whereabouts by ourselves. It's the same. Don't underestimate the intelligence capabilities of our Akatsuki organization. A figure appeared above the sky impressively, and the majestic voice resounded. Nagato in the dirty form is also felt. We Marine can hand over the Vegapunk. Sengoku's thousands of thoughts finally turned into a sigh. Sengoku, explain this to Master Five Elders yourself after this incident. A CP general knew that Sengoku had made up his mind, and left the battlefield with a cold snort. 078. One Piece World Reshuffle, Top 5 announced 2/6. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. In the early morning, the sky was blue and cloudless. Dazzling sunlight sprinkled into the sea, and seagulls appeared in the blue sky. The blue waves slapped gently, making it peaceful. It has been 3 days since the world-destroying level of peerless war passed. The Akatsuki organization won an absolute victory. Marine 200,000 Marine, and a Kainu admiral were killed together. Marineford, reduced to ruins. Naval headquarters has been moved to the former Marine G1 branch of New World. Ace, the descendant of the devil, was successfully recaptured by the Whitebeard pirates. In this battle, apart from the loss of Marine, there is no loser. This is not a big blow to Marine, and there are even gossips. Marine is still Marshal Sengoku has resigned from the post of Marine Marshal, and the new Marine will be announced to all parts of the world after being elected. In the past few days, every household, big and small forces. Everyone is talking about this war. They named it the Summit War afterwards. It means the Battle of the Pinnacle, the Battle of the World. The haze brought by Shao organization is also all the time, hanging over their heads. I'm afraid it will take at least thousands of years for this haze to fade away. A person's memory is short, but a group of people's memory is different. This haze will never be easily forgotten. But at this moment, above the sky, long lost. The gold list flickered again. Then rows of vigorous golden characters lined up. Advertisement. Open black lens bracket TOP5. Saiyan Prince of the Fighting Nation, Vegeta close black lens bracket. Affiliation. 7th Universe, Planet Vegeta. Close black lens bracket. With the opening of the preface to the gold list, everyone in One Piece world was attracted. From the cover-up of Summit War, out of the disc release. Just because this time the gold list is counted. Top 1. No one is not curious about who will be the strongest in this world. Battle Clan backquote. Damn, just hearing the name makes me feel powerful. Saiyan, what is it? 7th Universe, Planet Vegeta. Is this an alien? The former Marine G1 branch of New World is now the new naval headquarters. Sengoku and Garp looked at each other. Looking at the exposure of the gold list above the sky. Aliens do exist. What that guy Obito said is true, and a strong man like him doesn't bother to make up stories with us. Sengoku looked solemn and said, well, it seems that this world is more dangerous than we thought. It's not just the Akatsuki organization, our real enemy may be alien creatures. Garp also became serious at this time, and continued. I have resigned from the position of Marshal of the Marine. What do you think of the position of Marshal? Sengoku shook his head with a complex expression. He sighed helplessly in his heart. The current Marine is full of holes, if it wasn't for handing over the Vegapunk. Maybe Marine will cease to exist in this world. Advertisement. Hey, I didn't expect it to be so soon, and I need to choose a marshal from among them. Akainu sacrificed. Kizaru doesn't care about that. It can only be lazy Aokiji. Fujitora and Green Bull are still young. Garp sighed, looking helpless. There is no room for choice at all, only the taller one among the short ones. I agree with Aokiji's ideas, but he is too lazy. I hope that after becoming a marshal, he can improve after he has the guts. Sengoku shook his head, which also turned into a sigh. Marine's new force also needs to be replenished, but we lost so many Marines in the Summit War. Will anyone still want to join the army? Sengoku looked bitter and sighed again. Garp was about to comfort him, but at this moment, the Jinbang changed again. It's not a projection this time. Changed back to text. There's no reason to change it. Garp groaned in astonishment. Gold list announcement. Because the first place is too mysterious and powerful, there is no picture information of the other party. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. So this time the TOP5 TOP1 series are ranked in text format. Close black lens bracket. The Saiyan prince has a proud self-esteem and the power to constantly exceed the limit. There is no upper limit to his strength. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. He has the perseverance and ambition not to lose to anyone. Close black lens bracket. As long as it is to complete the agreement, he will definitely be able to complete the agreement beyond the limit. Close black lens bracket. Has a profound achievement in Super Saiyan Blue. Close black lens bracket. Advertisement. And Master Ultra Ego, claiming to be, the god of destruction form. In this form, there is no upper limit to the power of pure destruction. Close black lens bracket. Comprehensive evaluation. A prince who is arrogant and arrogant. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Ranking TOP5 TOPO rewards. 1 random Phantom Beast Devil Fruit, 1 random Logia Devil Fruit, 1 random Paramesha Devil Fruit. Close black lens bracket. Scare. With the opening of the gold list, the entire sea fell into an unprecedented shock distance. Not only because of the shock brought by top 5 Vegeta, but also because the one on the gold list is too mysterious because the first place. Even a miracle like the gold list can't grasp the battle information of the first place. Fear. Terrible. Does that mean that the number 1 existence in this world can at least compete with the gold list? This is too scary, right? New world. Redheads approaching Wano-kuni. All of them, Zhao, looked at each other in blank dismay, dumbfounded. Beckman, why do you say that this first place makes the gold list so afraid of him? The redhead opened his mouth and asked in a daze. 2 possibilities. First, the opponent's strength is too strong. Even Jinbang is afraid, so there is no information about the opponent, or there is, but without his permission, Jinbang dare not expose it. Second, Jinbang really didn't find any information about the opponent's battle, but this possibility is relatively small. The strong must have continuously improved themselves after fighting. Beckman was so startled that his cigars fell on the deck, unaware. You mean, the strength of this number 1 is comparable to the gold list? How is this possible? Then why do those existences keep Jinbang alive in this world? The red-haired Shanks was stunned, unable to complete his sentence. 079. Top 4 Wukong. Aliens really exist in this world. 3/6. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Nothing is impossible, Captain. Beckman shook his head, a look of wisdom in his eyes. The Shao organization alone can win the victory against the entire Marine. And it's still showing signs of crushing. Think about why in the Shao organization, those with strong combat power are inferior. The strong have their own arrogance. To be able to control the existence of those people, the strength must surpass the Shao organization once. As for the number of floors, I have no way of knowing. The leader of the Shao organization has not been on the list until now. First, second, or third and fourth. Beckman took out a cigar and lit it. He was extremely moved in his heart. He was really curious what kind of power this number 1 has. He has been shocked too many times, from Shao to the Round Table, to Soul Society, and now to the 7th universe. Now he even has a feeling that as long as he sees the other side, even if he dies, he will feel nothing. This feeling is very strange, but this layer of expectations, Yan Ran made his heart unstoppably agitated. He wanted to see the demeanor of this person judged to be number 1 on the gold list. It's really exciting. Generally, the wood expulsion line of gold is an inventory of 5 by 5. Today, the mystery of the number 1553 will be revealed. At this time, the red hair also showed all his eyes, full of emotion. You say Saiyans, what kind of power do they have? Advertisement. Above Aizen Kyoka Suigetsu. Lajalu took a bite of the chicken leg and asked out his doubts. This is also to get used to the previous projection exposure, and the information gap exposed by Vegeta is too great. So much so that he couldn't understand where Vegeta's strength was. Seeing the sentence on the gold list, does his upper limit mean that there is no upper limit? Can't you see where the strength lies? At this time, the red hair opened the corners of his mouth, letting him pretend. That's right. The gold list will never be lost for no reason. This one named Vegeta even surpasses Aizen by several levels. The introduction also said that it was comparable to the power of God of Destruction, and it also mentioned the universe. I don't dare to think about it at a deeper level, but one thing is certain is that this Vegeta is definitely several levels stronger. Beckman nodded, and said a few more words to make everyone understand. After hearing this, everyone looked at each other with expressions of emotion on their faces. At this moment, the gold list changed again. The new list has arrived. Open black lens bracket TOP4. Fighting Nation Saiyan, Monkey King Kakarot close black lens bracket. Affiliation. 7th Universe, Planet Vegeta. Close black lens bracket. Wukong is a martial idiot. Whenever a powerful opponent appears, he will be excited. Close black lens bracket. He is also a practicing madman. After death, he is still studying hard in the underworld. Close black lens bracket. Although he is a militant Saiyan, but the battle is often at the end of the day, and he will not take the initiative to kill the opponent, or hope that he can stay and have a chance to fight in the future. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket possess strong talent, comprehension, and even creativity. Close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Master the Super Saiyan Blue form, and rely on the integration of talents to develop the Super Blue Realm King Fist form, further strengthening the combat power. Close black lens bracket. Afterwards, I strengthened my control over the breath, and finally succeeded in completely converging the divine breath exuding outside the body into the body, stepping into the full power of the Super Saiyan, further improving the combat power. At the critical juncture, under the extreme state, stepped into the ultra blue full power and overdraft state, forcibly increasing the strength, but seriously consumed vitality and physical strength. Close black lens bracket. Its most powerful fighting stance, Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan Cosmic Tree Power. Close black lens bracket. On the basis of these, it has absorbed and endured the huge cosmic energy of the cosmic tree, and can explode with infinite power. Comprehensive evaluation. A man with unknown potential. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket ranking top, Kaka, 5 TOPO rewards. 1 random Phantom Beast Devil Fruit, 1 random Logia Devil Fruit, 1 random Paramesha Devil Fruit. Close black lens bracket. The golden text has stopped here. Exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark. Wow. Suddenly the whole sea was in an uproar. Although they looked cloudy, but it doesn't mean they can't understand the comprehensive evaluation. Jinbang even gave an unknown evaluation. What is the scariest thing? Not some monsters and ghosts. What is the most powerful combat power? Often the unknown is the scariest thing. You're all talking about how strong it is, haven't you found that ranking reward? It's getting more and more exaggerated, and I'm starving. Damn it. You reminded me to realize that a set of 3 series of devil fruits is coming. The gold list is too big. I want to be on the list too. You. Don't say you are on the list, you have to work hard to get on the Kong, and those who can be on the list will care about the rewards. Advertisement. People don't like big sharp knives, conqueror's qualifications, devil fruit, etc. Their power level has long been separated from these. For a time, the whole sea was full of discussions and opinions. G1 branch, now naval headquarters. A shabby conference room. Rows of people are full. Marshal Sengoku, we are all like this, why do we need to hold a combat meeting? Kizaru picked his ears, very impatient. You, be serious and pay attention to the occasion. What do you think about the newly exposed 7th universe on the gold list? Sengoku sighed, but got to the point. Although not many Marines survived, those who survived were the pillars of Marines. With this strength, it is not impossible to make a comeback. So he didn't choose to sell because the Marine power was almost collapsed. As usual, the intelligence on the sea will be reviewed every day, and regular meetings will be held. Strong, very strong. The Shao organization has already labeled me a muggle, let alone the top 5. The green cow shook his head, his expression extremely helpless. The story that Obito told before is absolutely true. The exposure of the gold list is almost the proof of what Obito said. Vegito planets exist, and the alien race of Saiyans has also been exposed. Isn't Otsutsuki Kagaya right to say that there are alien powers? Crane Vice Admiral's eyes were wise, and he slowly expressed his opinion. 080. The 7th universe. How many universes are there? 4/6. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Yes, my opinion is similar to Crane Vice Admiral's. What Obito said has been confirmed to a certain extent, and his identity should not be a big deal. I'm afraid our moon is really a fabrication, used to seal the 10 tails and Kagaya vessels. At this moment, Sengoku's face was solemn. Then he turned his head again and looked at Aokiji. Aokiji, what do you think? You should get used to this in advance. Sengoku's eyes were full, and the knocking was full of meaning. Ah, I think if it is true as Obito said, maybe we really have no way to defend against opponents of that level. An existence that even Kagaya, the goddess of creation, is afraid of, what can we resist? I can only hope for the Knights of the Round Table. Obito said he was the second 6 paths, and the 2 6 paths sealed Kagaya. That is to say, another Obito-level combat power can reach Kagaya's level. Kagaya has tried to resist. That is to say, even if there is a gap in strength between her and the alien powerhouse, there will not be too much difference. If the gap is too large, Kagaya will not be able to resist at all. And there are 5 people who are stronger than Obito, except for the Soul Society in the world of the dead. Aokiji nodded and gave his opinion. Although he usually looks lazy, in fact he has brains and insights. The Knights. Our Marines don't have any information about their strength. And they are about to start a war, even a Shao organization is so scary. I don't know if that guy Kaido would doubt life. Hearing this, Sengoku shook his head, his heart beating wildly. Even sitting here, he already felt Kaido's fear. Advertisement. I agree with the Marshal's opinion. The Knights of the Round Table Gold list introduces the Master of Justice. It is also the justice I have always yearned for. I think they will definitely take action when there is a crisis. Fujitora, who kept his eyes closed, expressed his opinion. Today, Yan Ran has been promoted to the position of Admiral after his performance in the first battle. Takes Akainu's place. The position of Marshal has not yet been handed over. Okay, what do you think of the 7th universe? Sengoku asked again at this point. However, when this question fell, everyone fell into silence. This is too unbelievable. Are we really going to scrutinize it? Crane Vice Admiral showed bitterness, shook his head, and looked surprised. No matter how powerful the opponent is, take precautions against the future. We must grasp any information thoroughly. A large part of the reason for the previous failures is that we did not have clear information from the Akatsuki organization, thus misjudging the opponent's strength. Sengoku shook his head, his face extremely determined. In the 7th universe, a quantifier is added in front of the universe. In fact, everyone already knows it well. Our side belongs to the 7th universe, and there must be at least 6 other universes outside the 7th universe. 1st universe, 2nd, 6th, 7th universe. There are so many strong people in the universe alone, and there are so many strong people in our planet alone. If there is a war with other universes. Advertisement. There is a high probability that we will die unexpectedly. Crane Vice Admiral showed bitterness, and slowly spoke such terrifying words. It's true that the more you know, the more you fear the unknown. The green cow shook his head, his complexion pale. That's right, sometimes you don't know anything, it's nice to be a commoner. Life is carefree and free. It is true that with great power comes great responsibility. The rare Kizaru also became serious and sighed. Everyone don't need to be too nervous, look worried. Didn't you see the evaluation of 5th and 4th on the gold list? The 5th is that there is no upper limit, and the 4th is that the potential is unknown. They are all powerful and exaggerated monsters. The sky is falling and there is a tall man holding it up. What we Marine need to do now is to recover our combat power. Others are being planned in the future. Sengoku shook his head, his expression softening. Zero looking for flowers. Recovery. Garp on the side also let go of the snacks. The sum of the current combat power of their Marines is not even 1/10 of what it was before. Originally, Marine didn't pay attention to the deployment of combat power on New World's side. Most of the Sea Chrysanthemum soldiers are at the front of the Grand Line, and the strategy is to hold down the entrance of the New World, in order to reduce the increasing number of pirates. Now after the Summit War, the only troops they can use now are the Marines who escaped in New World. A total of more than 10,000. It is not comparable to the previous ones. Advertisement. Garp, I understand your concerns. It has to be done, doesn't it? Point 0. Now the growth of pirates has reached an unprecedented speed. Now is never the time to relax. Sengoku's face is also bitter, but his tone is as firm as ever. Once upon a time, the overlord of the sea, the all-powerful Marine. Who would have thought it would end up like this? However, Sengoku stopped the loss in time and handed over Vegapunk, otherwise Marine might really be destroyed. This world will become a paradise for pirates. Marineford, former naval headquarters. At this moment, Yanran is a new scene, no longer a piece of ruins. A large group of people were frantically busy. Didn't eat. One by one, give me the strength to breastfeed. Usually raising you for so long, now that you have encountered such a thing, do you want to be lazy? The Don Quixote family, Torre Pole commanded loudly. Sekka on the side frantically urged devil fruit, and clods of soil were summoned out one by one. Those who started to work hurriedly came over one by one to pick up and transport away. Torapal with sticky fruit and Sekka with stone fruit. I believe that the big pit destroyed by Shenluo Tianzheng will be filled. And getting stronger than ever. One can imagine the hardness comparison between stone and soil. If there are outsiders here, their jaws will definitely drop. The well-known Tangji family actually did the work of filling the pit. Work. 081. Xiao, we are actually a scientific research organization, 5/6. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. You can't do that at this speed. Before the sun goes down, this land must be filled and leveled. Otherwise, we don't have enough time to move the equipment in our science laboratory. Before the person arrives, the voice arrives first. Accompanied by gloomy words resounded. White Zetsu rose slowly from the cracks in the stone, grinning a terrifying mouth. Understood, my lord. As soon as Ju's voice fell, Doflamingo wearing sunglasses suddenly appeared. Standing respectfully beside Ju. That's right, Doflamingo joined the Akatsuki organization. Of course, the Shao organization's willingness to protect the other party is not because of man-made devil fruit, but because of a card in his hand. The implementer of the Smile Devil Fruit project, Gai Sa Current. The original scientific research team MADS and a member of the world's 803 government science class, worked with Vegapunk and ranked second in the science class. With wisdom not inferior to Vegapunk, he is called the supreme authority on weapons of mass destruction by the world. It's better not to know that Orochimaru has taken a fancy to this. The Don Quixote family took refuge in Lu, who didn't like it at all. Even if the other party is the heavenly yaksha of this world, the underground leader, it will not help. At the same time, on the other side, behind Orochimaru stood two figures in white coats. I didn't expect I would have a day to work with you. I'm not interested at all. Guy grinned, looking gloomy. HMPH, your mind has fallen into the abyss. Advertisement. I don't like working with you either, but if you give me a hand, I can still accept it. Vegapunk looked calm, shook his head and hit it. You, put away your annoying arrogance. The technology I have now is superior to yours. Guy's expression was warm and angry, but because Orochimaru was by his side, it was not easy to attack. In my heart, I have already started to fantasize, even if Laozi's technology is not as good as your Vegapunk. Laozi is now Logia demon fruit power. It's time to beat you till you cry. It's noisy, you too. Be safe, be careful, I will kill you. Orochimaru licked the corner of his mouth, not arrogant. He didn't want to see the two assistants he had just got, spending all his time on bickering. Although his scientific research level already belongs to the top echelon. But he, Orochimaru, doesn't know enough about some of the world's power systems. Unable to penetrate the sage body, he had no choice but to start with the power system of One Piece world. To know, he was the only person in the Akatsuki organization who was appreciated by that adult. He is proud of this, and therefore heeded the advice of that adult, and went in the direction of scientific research, and reported progress as he reported. Of course, because of this, any action organized by Akatsuki is based on Orochimaru. Yes, Lord Orochimaru, yes. Two voices sounded at the same time. Apart from the two of you, is there anyone else who has made great achievements in scientific research? Orochimaru licked his lips and asked curiously. Advertisement. As the world's top scientists, they must have their circle. Maybe it's gone, it's all crooked melons and cracked dates, and it won't make a difference. It's better to have nothing, just use white zetsu to start. Vegapunk shook his head, respectfully. Vince Moke Judge, that guy can barely use it. Guy saw thought for a moment before answering. Vince Moke Judge, famous. Orochimaru's eyes lit up and he asked aloud. Belonging to the illegal scientific research team MADS like me and Vegapunk, most of them are engaged in research on weapons. Quote. Guy didn't dare to be negligent, and let out everything he knew. Research on weapons. Orochimaru was immediately disappointed, but since he could get Guy's approval. Not to mention a guy who can strike. And this guy might chat with that guy Scorpio. White Zetsu. Search for Vince Moke Judge from the intelligence database. If you find it, send him a message and let him come to Marineford to do things for me. If you refuse. You understand. Orochimaru explained to White Zetsu and stopped talking. 0. Master Orochimaru, what shall we study later? Seeing that nothing happened, Guy asked out his curiosity. Vegapunk on the side also pricked up his ears. Research what, since Guy said you recently made achievements on devil fruit. Let's start by eliminating the side effects of devil fruit. Orochimaru grinned and spoke amazingly. What? Advertisement. Devil fruit side effects. How could this be possible? Vegapunk and Guy were startled and looked at each other in blank dismay. Although we have mastered the concept of bloodline factors, we can imitate devil fruit and create artificial devil fruit. But even that is a side effect, let alone erasing devil fruit's side effects. Vegapunk also said in a daze, even if he is called a scientific genius by the world, he also said that it was impossible. Can find the core strength of devil fruit. Can't find the reason why devil fruit repels the sea. Orochimaru couldn't help laughing when he heard this. Interesting, interesting. This world is so interesting. However, you are only here to help me, so it's possible that it's not up to you. In front of me, there is nothing impossible. Orochimaru grinned, and opened his hands infinitely arrogant. 3.8 is just a side effect of devil fruit, even though he still doesn't have a deep understanding of devil fruit. But he is full of confidence. You must know that he even has wood style and Rinnegan at his fingertips, let alone a small side effect. Is there any precedent in this world that is resistant to side effects? Orochimaru asked again. At this time, his first thought was to start with human experiments. It is also his best and favorite scientific direction. Extract various genes and mix them together to find the correct solution. Precedent. Flying is equivalent to no side effects. Others like Aokiji's frozen fruit have no side effects, right? Vegapunk wasn't sure. 082. Top 3 gods of destruction. How many gods are there? 6/6. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Orochimaru, I think I can answer your question. I remember that I have collected information about this. White Zetsu reappeared out of nowhere at this time, and said in a sinister manner. Okay. Orochimaru was puzzled. Beasts pirates. Jack the Drow of the Beasts pirates, and the four emperors Kaido. Jack is a mermaid. Although he has lost the ability to swim, he can breathe underwater. The mermaids obviously have this ability. As for the four emperors Kaido, I don't know. I once observed him jumping into the sea, as if nothing happened. White Zetsu grinned an ugly grin. Breathing underwater is useless. It's Kaido, a good human test subject. In the past few days, you have informed the Knights of the Round Table by the way. Let them catch alive. Orochimaru pondered for a while, and then ordered. 20 Obviously, these are not useful information, there are not many Kaido's genes, but he feels a little curious. His calm voice fell. The faces of Vegapunk and guy next to him were horrified and shocked. The subjects of the four emperors Kaido's human trials. Advertisement. FK. Isn't this too crazy? Sure enough, scientists not only need strong professional knowledge, but also strong strength. And not only that, what did they just hear? The two looked at each other, and from the eyes of each other, the two confirmed that they heard correctly. Notify the Knights of the Round Table. Why is the evil Akatsuki organization related to the righteous Knights of the Round Table? Even Suru Vice Admiral and Sengoku, who are playing tricks, can't figure out what's involved here, right? And, the weight of Shao and the Knights of the Round Table, they are all genuine gold-ranked powerhouses. These two are related, what else in this world can stop them? It was so terrifying, and these secret words were easily spoken in front of their faces. This is obviously not to treat them as outsiders, but that the Shao organization has full confidence to shut them up. Thinking of this, the two of them couldn't help feeling terrified, and the hairs on their bodies trembled. The object of their cooperation is the most terrifying existence in the world. At this moment, they reacted belatedly, and then remembered that they were still bickering in front of Orochimaru just now. A trace of cold sweat fell directly from his forehead, and his face became indescribably nervous and embarrassed. Oh, by the way, I discovered a very interesting thing a few days ago. White Zetsu, who was about to leave, suddenly turned around with a dazed look. There's a gang of rats at Summit War that's been watching you, remember? I was curious, so I went to eavesdrop. That guy named Blackbeard Marshall D. Teach has been regretting that he can't get the power of shock fruit. Advertisement. I remember that he is a dark fruit capable user. I don't know why he has such a deep obsession with shock fruit. It stands to reason that swallowing two devil fruits at the same time should cause mutual repulsion due to the side effects, and cause you to explode and die, right? White Zetsu tilted his head, feeling very confused. What? I want to have two devil fruits at the same time. It's absolutely impossible. Although Vegapunk was a little scared at the moment, he still couldn't contain the surprise in his heart and screamed. Okay. Are you questioning my intelligence? Or Blackbeard's unrealistic thinking? White Zetsu's playful tone suddenly turned cold. In an instant, meeting White Zetsu's penetrating gaze, Vegapunk directly expressed despair. The pressure is too great. Haha, it's so fun, I got scared like this just as a joke. White Zetsu's funny laughter resounded. HMPH, if you want to play around, you have to divide your time. Orochimaru frowned slightly, but didn't say much. Instead, he continued to order, catch Blackbeard together. If you don't come, just kill it, the body will come later, it won't affect much. After saying that, Orochimaru licked the corner of his mouth and grinned. Working with White Zetsu is definitely the most worry-free thing for him. I have to say White Zetsu's robe technique, plus his own avatar. No information can escape his eyes. In this case. Advertisement. Things are progressing much faster. Orochimaru's eyes lit up, and he murmured. Then he greeted Guy and the two left the place. At the same time, the golden list shone faintly, and a new list came down. Open black lens bracket TOP3, God of Destruction, Beerus. Close black lens bracket. Affiliation. 7th Universe. Close black lens bracket. Each universe has a God of Destruction, who is responsible for the destruction in the universe, and his status is second only to the Almighty who is responsible for ruling all universes. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. He is arrogant and self-willed, and has unimaginably powerful destructive power, and will destroy the planet if he doesn't go his way. 100 He wakes up every few years or decades, so many planets will be doomed. Close black lens bracket. With unparalleled destructive power, you only need to use 70% of your power to fight with Super Saiyan. Close black lens bracket. Beerus has respect for the strong and hopes to fight against the strong. Because of the legend of Super Saiyan God, he began to pay attention to Sun Wukong and others, and Sun Wukong and others broke through the limit again and again, which made him admire. What excited Beerus the most was Monkey King's Ultra Instinct. Close black lens bracket. Comprehensive evaluation. Ultimate of destructive power, with galaxy-level destructive power at hand. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Ranking TOP5 TOPO rewards. 1 random Phantom Beast Devil Fruit, 1 random Logia Devil Fruit, 1 random Paramesha Devil Fruit. Close black lens bracket. Wow. Accompanied by the appearance of the text on the gold list. All over the world, People who are paying attention to the gold list are all so shocked that their scalps go numb. Some even almost lost their stability and fell directly to the ground. Self-proclaimed God Pain, Obito of Six Paths, Mother of Creation. Soul Society's Shinigami. The super race god who was exposed just now, and now another god of destruction has been exposed. Don't gods only exist in legends or fantasy? Why are they popping out one by one like dumplings now? How about selling cabbage? 083. Top 2 Angel Weiss. Beerus Master. 1/6. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. This god of destruction is not good. There is still such a god in our world. Although we are in the universe, if Beerus is in a bad mood someday, we will die for no apparent reason. Horror. Fear. The sense of oppression from the third place on the gold list is too strong. Even Super Saiyan Goku and Vegeta can't beat this guy. Who else can stop this guy? Why is it the god of destruction who rules the universe? Isn't there such a thing as a god of creation? Why do wreckers rule us? Doubtful, puzzled, timid. All kinds of emotions filled everyone's hearts and could not dissipate for a long time. And the amount of information exposed on the Jinbang this time is a bit large, and above the god of destruction, there is even a more powerful existence. And it's also the leader of the entire universe, which means that our 7th universe is really the 7th universe. Quan Wang. Just hearing the name does not give you the shock of a god of destruction. But from the point of view of ruling the entire universe, the god of destruction is probably an underage child in the eyes of Quan Wang. For a time, there were many opinions and discussions. However, without waiting for too much discussion, the Jinbang changed again. Open black lens bracket TOP2, Angel Weiss close black lens bracket. Affiliation. The servant and martial arts master of Beerus, the god of destruction of the 7th universe. Close black lens bracket. Exclamation mark. A servant, a martial arts master. Advertisement. With the opening of the prologue, the sea boiled again. Existence like a god of destruction. There is even a master. Damn, it's really outrageous. Open the door for outrageous. Outrageous is home. Don't wait for them to be shocked, the introduction that will surprise them even more. The status is an angel in the god realm, the son of a god tier officer. When the god in charge of serving dies, he will stop functioning as an angel until the next god of destruction appears, whose true strength is stronger than Beerus. Close black lens bracket. It has the ability to turn back time, but it can only go back 3 minutes at most, and it takes a long time to start every 2 times. After time is turned back, only people in Weiss enchantment will not lose the memory before turning back. Close black lens bracket. It can create and repair some things through the staff, and can quickly observe everything in the 7th universe, and the interior is a different space that can be transformed and mastered by will. Close black lens bracket. Angel Weiss can also heal the wounds of others through the staff, and can also resurrect the dead. Close black lens bracket. Although there is no teleportation ability, it has the fastest speed in the universe, far exceeding the speed of light, and can bring many people to any place in the universe within hours or even tens of minutes. Close black lens bracket. The strength of Weiss and God of Destruction is very different, and Beerus can be defeated with just one blow. Close black lens bracket. Comprehensive evaluation. A strong fighter who doesn't like to fight. Open black lens bracket ranking TOP5 TOPO rewards. 1 random Phantom Beast Devil Fruit, 1 random Logia Devil Fruit, 1 random Paramesha Devil Fruit, close black lens bracket. Exclamation mark. As the list came to an end, everyone was dumbfounded. All of them opened their mouths wide open, unable to utter a word for a long time. He just stood there, staring blankly at the introduction in the sky. It was like being shocked by an electric shock, and the spirit was in a half-demented state. Read the above text over and over again. New World. Red hair pirates. Everyone, you look at me, and I look at you. They all don't know what to say, they seem to have lost their voice, they are numb, they can neither speak nor think. Advertisement. God Realm. W. The red-haired and eye-opening eyes slowly spit out 2 words. Mixed tastes in my heart. These words used to exist only in myths and legends, or longing dreams. Shown in text. Okay. The red hair pirates looked at each other in blank dismay, with the same mixed feelings. There are also thousands of thoughts in my heart. It seems that this world not only really has gods, Shendu has land boundaries, once you catch it, you will get a lot of it. What kind of existence is it that exposes the gods' gold list? Looking at it now, as long as I am is not stupid, he won't do the stupid thing about attacking Jinbang again, right? It seems that there is a huge power system outside our planet. God Realm, Quan Wang, God Tier Officer, Angel, God of Destruction, Super Race God. Beckman exhaled a puff of smoke, deeply moved. With his wisdom, Yanran guessed a little bit, and knew about writing about the reverie about the position in the universe with ambiguity. I want to see their demeanor. My strength. Maybe I won't see it in my life. The redhead sighed, showing regret on his face. Well, that is the existence we can see. 17. We can't reach that level after several lifetimes of cultivation. Lajalu bit the chicken leg and said vaguely. Lajalu, I don't like to hear what you say. The redhead grumbled back, but also grinned loudly. Advertisement. He has always been informal, let alone his close brother. Do not. We are not completely impossible, thousands of layers. Beckman shook his head at this moment, his eyes bright. Wow. Beckman, are you out of your mind? You don't seem like someone who likes to make jokes like this. Usopp threw his arms around Beckman's neck, puzzled. Okay, I now find out. You guys are just too casual, so you can't improve your strength for money. Beckman shook his head, disdainful. The voice fell. Now everyone turned their heads to look at Beckman. All of them looked kindly, and they already had Beckman's thoughts. Didn't you find a pattern in it? Beckman ignored the jokes in everyone's eyes, and suddenly asked a question. What? The red-haired eyes were all clean, and he answered the phone. Beckman was the first group he pulled onto the boat, and as his ship's mate, he naturally understood the opponent's temperament very well. The other party must have discovered something, and it is definitely not lost for no reason. The people on the leaderboard, almost all have the ability to live forever. The Akatsuki organization may each have the ability to resurrect, and the heaven-defying ability to resurrect others also exists. Eternal life represents infinite possibilities. 084. Everyone stand up. First place. Shocked Brother Ming 2/6. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The resurrection of the undead means that it will not die halfway before it grows up. And most importantly, their power system I feel is different from ours. Although I don't know why, their system has higher growth potential. To sum up, if we can touch another level of power, we should be able to take that step with our aptitude. Beckman said calmly. The voice fell, and the audience was in an uproar. What he said was extremely terrifying, and it also opened his mind. But after explaining it, everyone nodded involuntarily. With all the signs and the information collected from Rayleigh, they can be sure that there is no hockey in the Akatsuki organization. Without hockey, the strength lies with them. It is enough to see the power of its power system. That's what you said, but what you said is like not saying anything. Resurrection power and immortality, we have no way at all. Not to mention the power system, even if we apprentice, it depends on sincerity. The redhead looked bitter and shook his head. What 377 said is simple, but which one of them is not as difficult as skyrocketing? I can only apprentice. I haven't seen the level of God of Destruction, but for the sake of strength, there will be masters like angels. There is no upper limit to combat power. As long as there is a possibility of raising the upper limit, we should be humble. Nowadays the world is unpredictable, it's time for us to put away the arrogance of our four emperors pirates. Marine was wiped out by Akatsuki, what are we proud of? Beckman shook his head, expressing his thoughts. After everyone listened, their hearts were also tense. Advertisement. Beckman's words are not rough. Now is no longer the era of emperors and marines fighting for hegemony in the sea. Only world government IM, Akatsuki organization, Knights of the Round Table and other levels are worthy of talking about domination. Thinking of this, everyone felt heavy. There is still a lot of room for improvement in some combat power, and it is also clear. This long-lost feeling of eagerness to become stronger came to my heart. The second place is the master of the god of destruction, so who should be the first place? The king of all. The red hair grinned when he saw the high-spirited Kai crew members. Probably not. According to the ranking rules of the gold list. It is said to rank all things in all worlds, but the essence is still on our side. Even if it is the local area, the galaxy, and then the universe. It's all about inclusion. And other universes are obviously fundamentally different from ours. It can be understood as a parallel universe, they do not belong to our world. If it is not a parallel universe, then it is possible to rank the king. Beckman shook his head and said calmly. Being intelligent, he naturally noticed some key information. This time, the redhead suddenly became interested. Isn't the king the first? Who would that be? Is Hugh Bok omniscient? Although it is very powerful, it feels a little inferior in front of the cosmic level combat power. There is time to go backwards, and the rules in these cosmic levels must be understandable. In terms of strength, these Shendu can easily crush the planet. In this way, Juhabok is far behind. Advertisement. Could it be the real leader of the Akatsuki organization that has never been seen before? However, the gap is too big. The subordinates are not very strong, the leader went directly to the first place. The red-haired man showed doubts and expressed his guess. Possibly a god-tier officer. Beckman shook his head, remembering the evaluation of Jinbang. The angel is the son of the god-tier officer, and the god-tier officer has no reason to be weak. He was right. It's just a pity that he doesn't know that god-tier officials are not in charge of a single parallel universe. But when it came to this, he spoke with some uncertainty. If leader Shao ranks first, don't you think it's against harmony? Violation. After hearing this, everyone fell into deep thought. But for a long time, I can't figure out where the contradiction is. Strength. Akatsuki's top combat strength is around 20 to 19. In fact, their combat power is only one level stronger than ours. But if you think about it, how many levels will they be different from the first? Such an existence is so weak. Is this reasonable? Beckman shook his head, looking grave. The voice fell, and the audience was in an uproar again. Akatsuki is weak. Obito is weak. Nagato is weak. Itachi is weak. Maybe Akatsuki's leader has evil thoughts. The redhead interjected at this point. His subordinates can only choose people like Shao organization who have the same thoughts. It's not that he doesn't want to recruit powerful ones, but that the stronger knights of the Round Table are the teachers of justice, and they didn't give them to him. If you assume that, does everything make sense? The redhead shook his head and grinned. Advertisement. He felt that he had touched the truth of the matter. However, waiting for Beckman to answer. The sky has changed again. This moment, the world seems to have come to a standstill. In the entire pirate world, everyone is still, looking up and staring at the sky. The big and small forces in this sea. Even the Shao organization, who has always been indifferent to the gold list and never observes and discusses it. The Knights of the Round Table also stopped in place at this moment. Looking up, on his face, there is an inexplicable respect. It seems that I have already understood the ownership of this first position in my heart. Meanwhile, between flowers, I am also stood up suddenly and left the throne. I want to see who this number one is. It's so big, how afraid is the gold list? He raised his head and stared blankly at the gold list. Okay, aren't these Shao organization guys always indifferent to the gold list? Why is the aura different this time? Doflamingo's pupils constricted, his face horrified. You must know that when Super Saiyan, God of Destruction, and Angel were exposed earlier, they didn't even bother to raise their eyelids. This time, they actually put down what they were doing at the same time and looked up at the sky. The key is, from these extremely powerful beings, he discovered, their current state. Is it so similar to the way his family subordinates look at him? 085. After all, it is firmly on the list, top 1, 3/6. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Open black lens bracket top 1. Mubai close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket affiliation. Unknown close black lens bracket. Exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark. Wow. Accompanied by the opening of the prologue. Everyone was shocked again. It's unknown again. Doesn't even Jinbang know the specific information about this Mubai? Horror. Great horror. This number one obviously felt the fear of Jin, bang towards him. Lord, what kind of existence is it? Only a name is revealed, but the identity of the power is unknown. But before they thought about it, something even more shocking happened. Open black lens bracket. Dear Lord of the Second Plane, do you allow the principal list to expose your information? Close black lens bracket. A puzzled text. A text that has nothing to do with the list suddenly appeared. Clatter. Immediately, the whole sea was like freshly boiled water. A stone stirred up 1,000 waves, and it boiled like crazy. What the FK? Are my eyes not blind? Lousy didn't hallucinate, did he? I'm obviously not dreaming now. Why are these things not real at all? Sanctuary Mariajoy, among the flowers. I am who just sat down on the void throne. Stand up suddenly again. The look of horror couldn't stop. Then it becomes amazement, shock, and finally into never-ending anger. Damn, why is the gap so big? Advertisement. I attack Jinbang, I will take that thing. Now the number one, is he so respectful? I am yelling violently and loudly. She can't remember how many years she has experienced such strong emotional fluctuations. Skills are not as good as others. After adjustments in the past few days, it was hard for her to accept this fact. But now, she has been in a high position and at the peak of power for a long time. How could it be possible to endure such differentiated treatment from Jinbang? Even in her anger at this moment, her whole body was trembling slightly. Even a strong person like her can't control her figure. Mubai, 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 between flowers. A series of gloomy voices resounded continuously. In the distance, an incomparably majestic voice resounded from above the heavens. Don't get angry. No exposure allowed. The simple 4 words represent the attitude of this strong man who is even in awe of the gold list. Open black lens bracket ability unknown close black lens bracket. Another text lined up. At this time, everyone was obviously numb, and their hearts were shaken. But, I have lost my voice, and I want to say something, and my brain is also in a state of shutdown. Can't spit out a single word. Open black lens bracket respected number 1, can you take stock of the forces under the siege? Close black lens bracket. Another line of text was arranged and combined, but the tone displayed on it. I can see the fear of the gold list and fear. Exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark. Ask every time you take stock, isn't it fear of what this is? Forget it, it's been exposed, so let's expose it. Advertisement. An aura of righteousness resounds above the sky. The majestic atmosphere made everyone present feel surrendered. Just the sound from thousands of miles away gave them the urge to worship. What kind of demeanor is it really? Affiliated forces. Akatsuki Organization, Knights of the Round Table, Seraiti 13th Division, and the leader of the 7th Universe. Close black lens bracket. Wow. Accompanied by the exposure of the gold list. One after another amazed, one after another screamed. Like a thunderbolt from the blue, the sky exploded. This is so appalling. All the powers of the gold list belong to the same person. The whole universe is his. The pinnacle of power. Do not. This is a hand over the sky. Dear leader, can you tell me about your ability? Close black lens bracket. Insufficient permissions on the principal list, unable to check your ability. Close black lens bracket. Another horrifying line of text. What's the word for insufficient authority? God Mubai, he doesn't want to be read. Even the gold list has nothing to do with it. This joke is not funny at all. Everyone held their breath and concentrated, quietly waiting for the answer from the first place. However, what waited was endless silence. After a good while, everyone gradually realized it. Zero looking for flowers. The first place actually ignored the request of the gold list. This miraculous gold list has shown such a humble attitude, I didn't expect that this adult would dare to choose to ignore it directly. It has to be said that the existence that can be feared by the gold list is really terrifying. Advertisement. They can't understand the idea of such existence at all. Get TOP1 TOP5 rewards. A random Logia devil fruit, a phantom beast devil fruit, and a paramesha devil fruit. Close black lens bracket. And get additional exclusive rewards for the first place, top conquerors hockey, top observation hockey, top armament hockey. With the end of the golden list, the whole sea boiled again. Point 0. This reward. Give it to anyone, it is directly the world's top combat power, right? The gold list is not a reward, it is creating a god. What are you thinking? Mubai, who ranks first, does he value these rewards? This is just another show of favor from the gold list. His combat power must be higher than that of angels, at the level of destroying the universe at will. These rewards are not appreciated by others. Didn't you see that people are too lazy to pay attention to the gold list? A stone stirs up 1,000 waves. Everyone looked at the rewards on the gold list with envy. But no one dared to have any thoughts, these bad thoughts just rose from the bottom of their hearts. They were immediately stopped by them. Because they know. The object of their meddling is the number one in this world. Give them 100, 1,000, 10,000 guts, but they wouldn't dare. If you can send messages through the air, can't you check their minds through the air? At the same time, inside a simple wooden house. The same chessboard, the same handsome and outrageous man. Open your mouth slowly. It's really endless, Rizzy asked. It's a good thing it hasn't been exposed. My system seems to be quite useful sometimes. Mubai grinned, showing a look of relief. That's right, this is the protagonist of the list. The mysterious number 1086. The existence that don't dare to discuss. The new ranking preview, 4/6. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. That's right, this is the protagonist of the list. Mysterious top. Host. There are foreign forces that want to fuse into your body. However, after the detection of this system, it will not cause any harm or adverse factors to the host. Do you choose to accept it frankly? An ethereal and pleasant mechanized female voice resounded from his mind. As expected of you, since you have been tested. Accept. After the words fell, a faint golden light enveloped his whole body. Mubai only felt that the pores of the cells in his body were wide open, and he was inhaling golden light frantically and greedily. At the same time, he set his sights on his chessboard. At this time, 3 devil fruits of different shapes appeared there out of thin air. These devil fruits look quite strange. Based on my understanding of the pirate world, 510, this is very uncommon. Mubai muttered. He did not feel any discomfort when he accepted the gold medal award. There is even an indescribable comfort. White Zetsu. A sound transmission through the air uttered from the bottom of my heart. The opposite side of the chessboard. A figure slowly rose from under the board. Yes, I don't know what to say to my subordinates. White Zetsu, who has always been frivolous and funny, stood there respectfully at this moment. He didn't dare to move, his expression was extremely serious, and he didn't dare to show any disrespect. Bring these 3 devil fruits to Orochimaru for research. I think he should be able to give me a satisfactory answer. Do not let me down. Mubai smiled, signaled the other party not to be nervous, and ordered to come. Advertisement. Yes, my lord, I will definitely bring your exact words to Orochimaru. White Zetsu didn't hesitate at all, and quickly agreed to come down. Then watch what you say and what you say. There is no entanglement when I find the sign of chasing customers in the other party's eyes. That, the subordinate will leave here. After White Zetsu said his respectful farewell, he fled into the ground again and disappeared without a trace. Hey, in the empty wooden house, only Mubai sighed. How many times have I said, don't treat me as an outsider? These existences summoned by the system. Why can't everyone change their habits? Mubai looked helpless, very puzzled. Such a strict subordinate relationship made him feel very uncomfortable. Also very boring. Congratulations to host, I have gone through system optimization with all my strength. All received. The system prompt should bring Mubai back to his thoughts. He clenched his fist, and he was in a great mood. Mubai's expression, if seen by outsiders, definitely will be blown away again. This cosmic overlord actually smiled because of Conqueror's hockey. System, check the progress of the tasks organized by Xiaoxiao. After feeling his new ability, Mubai asked again. Okay, host, current Xiao organization mission progress, 40%. A light blue panel that only Mubai can see looms in front of him. Only 40. It seems that the plan needs to be continued. Advertisement. Mubai rubbed his chin, his face lost in thought again. Then he asked the system again. What about the Knights of the Round Table and the Soul Society, Weiss? Let's list the schedule as well. Almost at the same time as the voice fell. Mubai only felt his eyes dazzled, and a few lines of words appeared on the light blue panel again. Knights of the Round Table, 20%. Seraiti 13 Division, 0%. 7th Universe, 0%. Is that so? Mubai frowned slightly, and the sense of urgency in his heart became stronger and stronger. That's right, the forces he belongs to all have tasks that need to be completed. Originally, he planned to lie dormant for a few years before starting to carry out the task. I just didn't expect that. The sky is not as good as people's calculations, just as he is still preparing the prelude to the plan. All the forces he summoned were exposed by the gold list. So I had no choice but to implement the plan in advance. New World, New Naval Headquarters G1. The battle meeting continued as usual. However, this time, the combat conference room was indeed unusually quiet. At this time, even if a needle falls to the ground, it can be clearly heard. Everyone, you look at me, and I look at you, and you don't dare to let your breath out. Point 0. Just because the exposure of Mubai is too incredible. Of course, this is not because I understand the other party's ability, so I feel incredible. But the way it was exposed this time is really shocking. Where is the exposure? This is simply what the top unilateral self-disclosure can reveal. Mr. Wrong chose to remain silent at this meeting. I don't know what to say. Why don't we end this meeting here? Advertisement. Garp's face is like a bitter gourd, obviously his mood has been slightly affected. Garp. Sengoku looked serious and spoke slowly. I wanted to say something, but the words got stuck in my mouth. What do you think about the exposure of the first place? Sengoku finally opened the topic. Voice down. Everyone present, the marine elites all looked at each other in blank dismay. No answer. Sengoku shook his head helplessly. Normally, these people talk too much, so how could this be covered up? He turned his head and looked at Aokiji. As his future successor, he needs to investigate and support many places. Don't look at me. Marshal Sengoku, you know me. I'm just an ordinary admiral, where 2.8 dares to point fingers at an existence like God Mubai. I cannot. Why don't you come? Aokiji suddenly felt as if he was sitting on a blanket, feeling uncomfortable all over. But at this moment, the list in the sky changed again. Everyone was taken aback, with doubts on their faces. You know the top one has been exposed, why is there still a change? This is completely inconsistent with the rules exposed by the gold list these days, right? Preview of the next list, talent list. Generated talents have emerged from generation to generation, each leading the way for hundreds of years. Close black lens bracket. Count the romantic figures, but also look at the present. Close black lens bracket. Subsequently, the extra list of actors will be announced soon. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Stay tuned. Close black lens bracket. The vigorous and magnificent characters fell, and soon people all over the world received this notice in their minds. 087. The old era dominates or the new era is coming. 5/6. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Talent list. The whole sea is boiling and restless. Can't win the combat power list. Don't we have a chance on the talent list? You must know that the pirates in this world are more or less blindly confident. Otherwise, how dare you go to sea? Such a main theme of the world has created a group of existences full of self-confidence. At this moment, they are all excited beyond words. Talent list. Do it. Laozi finally has a chance to be on the list. Laozi is about to become famous in the sea, and there will be more pirates who will join me. I will enter the new world and carve up the territory of the 4 emperors. Even the leader of a small faction jumped out at this time. My lord, there is even a talent list. Laozi is very talented, although his combat power is not as good as those on the previous combat power list. But that's just because Laozi is too lazy to practice. My potential is definitely very strong. Even some pirates who are still in the first half of the Grand Line are looking forward to it. G1 Naval Headquarters. Although the combat conference room is still quiet at the moment. But the atmosphere obviously eased a lot. Talent list. This list is interesting. What are your views on this matter? Sengoku's eyes lit up, and he looked around at the crowd again. First think we Marine who are on the list need to fight for it. It is a good time for all parties to strengthen their forces. Advertisement. Crane Vice Admiral almost didn't think too much, and directly echoed. Those who can be on the talent list are not necessarily strong. But the ones who are not strong enough to be listed on the talent list at this time are the best seedlings to recruit. Who doesn't like to find talented people to train as newcomers? But in the past, these qualifications were invisible, so they didn't pay too much attention to those weak people. But now the talent list is exposed. Those fragrant buns will have nowhere to hide. That's right. What our Marine needs most right now is the injection of fresh blood. If someone on the talent list joins Haiju, it will definitely bring life to our Marine. Aokiji also looked solemn at this time, and said, "In my heart, I attach great importance to this new list." At this moment, he is also very concerned about the development and future of Marine. But those are very few. Those who are talented must have become strong, and there are very few who have not become strong. Garp shook his head, expressing his disapproval of the notion. Garp, what you and he said makes sense. But I always feel. Our era can be reduced to an old era. The powerhouses of the new era will gradually emerge. Sengoku shook his head, looking serious. But there's no sign of it. I don't know how many people will be exposed in the talent list of the gold list. If it's still in the top 20, we can all guess who is on the list. Garp grabbed a snack and said, he still trusts his own judgment. You know, Kaido, Auntie, Whitebeard, Redhead, plus himself Sengoku Marine Admiral. Advertisement. And the world government and the Revolutionary Army, I.M. Akatsuki organized the Knights of the Round Table and so on. These people have already crowded out the talent list. How could it be the turn of the new era? That's not necessarily true, Spectrum. Your thinking is still limited. The descendant of One Piece, he was so favored by Whitebeard in just a few years after going to sea. Logia Devil Fruit, do you think the potential is average? Your grandson, the red-haired Shanks, who was exposed in the previous actor list, lost an arm in order to save him. Do you think the redhead didn't gamble? And the kid guy, but with Conqueror's hockey? Wait, too many examples. Give them 20 years, or even 10 years, do you think they will not be able to catch up with us? Sengoku shook his head and sighed. As the Marshal of the Marine, he was checking the intelligence of the sea every day and night. How amazing the growth rate of these newcomers was, he knew it clearly from the bottom of his heart. It was because he understood that he could be sure that Garp's thinking was limited. That's right, there's one more thing. If the talent list and the combat power list are almost the same, there is no difference. The gold list shouldn't be exposed, right? If the people on the list are all the same, it doesn't mean a lot to be exposed once. Crane Vice Admiral nodded, also gave his own guess. Well, I can't say enough about you two. Garp shook his head, looking helpless. It's normal for him to bicker with Sengoku, but it's different when the town is added. The side with two mouths is bound to win, so Garp simply doesn't speak. Advertisement. In addition to the Marines, they had an in-depth discussion on this. The Revolutionary Army has been hidden in the dark, out of public view. At this moment, a combat meeting is also held. Dragon, why is he made into a pacifist, such a weapon of war? As soon as Ivankov came in, he started to question him loudly. 933 After the top battle, he is extremely angry at this moment. Shichibukai's bear is not the real body at all, but a war weapon with a little self-will. He didn't react at first. But when Marine activates the pacifists who look exactly like bears behind the battlefield, he reacted suddenly. What? A weapon of war? The dragon stood up suddenly, surprised. He sent Bear to join the Shichibukai, in fact, to get them to undercover the Marine. But I did not expect Ivankov to bring such news. How could this not shock him, knowing that for the bear to not be exposed? Their revolutionary army never took the initiative to contact him, but only waited for his contact. Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. It is because of this that the transformation of the bear happened. As the commander-in-chief of the revolutionary army, he has no idea of strength. Long, you don't know either. That's right, it seems to have been remodeled, but it's not finished yet. With a little awareness, he can at least recognize me. But I feel like we should act now, to rescue the bears. Otherwise, after the transformation is completed, he may lose consciousness at all. Ivankov looked sad and indignant, and said eagerly. 088. The transformed bear, the heartbroken revolutionary army, 6/6. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The only thing that can transform a bear into a pacifist is most likely the work of the science troops. And the Vegapunk of the science corps is in Akatsuki's hands. So we're not sure now whether the bear is with Marine or with Akatsuki. The dragon looked contemplative, speculating uncertainly. Shao organization. After hearing this, Ivankov's expression suddenly became serious. Having personally experienced that battle, his fear of the Akatsuki organization is still vivid in his memory. I guess, it may be difficult for us to bring the bear back. Ivankov looked desperate at this moment, and said slowly. Why do you say that? Long asked aloud. Because Akatsuki's goal is Vegapunk. It must be Vegapunk's technology, and Vegapunk's technology is mostly linked to devil fruit. Big Bear's body has been transformed by the other party, so there is no reason why the other party can't study the unique devil fruit on Big Bear's body. It is very likely that the Big Bear has fallen into the hands of the Shao organization. Ivankov slowly expressed his guess. His complexion was extremely dark. Even Marine, their revolutionary army, has a chance to retake the bear. But if it is the Akatsuki organization, there is no possibility at all. You must know that the Akatsuki organization without Mubai can beat Marine and surrender. Now the Jinbang reveals that Akatsuki's leader is Mubai, and he can think of any way at all. Then we can't save it. How could we let the bear do nothing? Even if there is a disparity in strength, there must be a way. Sabo on the side stood up abruptly, gritted his teeth and said, Chief of Staff, I feel bad too. But, if the other party is the Akatsuki organization, we must give up the idea of taking back the bear. Advertisement. Otherwise, our entire revolutionary army will be wiped out. How can we realize our ideals? Ivankov looked at Sabo and roared. As he spoke, the always cheerful and optimistic man shed tears. Who wants to leave bears alone? The bear is their partner, and a gentle and strong bear is his bosom friend. But, against the Shangxia organization, there is no chance of winning at all. The gap between them is like a sky sting. Quote. Ivankov, you are right. A few days ago, Shang sent me a report. It says Marine may have the ability to give weapons the power of devil fruit. I was also shocked at the time, but I didn't pay much attention to it. Now after your analysis, it is very likely that what you said is true. The dragon's expression was also unprecedentedly solemn. The two brows furrowed together. After everyone listened, the only trace of luck left in their hearts was shattered. One by one wept softly. Hateful, hateful. Damn Marine. Damn Vegapunk. Sabo punched the table one after another, venting his anger uncontrollably. Everyone calmed down. Long looked around and saw the state of everyone. He sighed in his heart. Even if the opponent is Shao organization, I'll bring back the bear too. If no words brought back, the position of commander-in-chief is handed over to Sabo. Advertisement. And it is absolutely not allowed to send troops to the Akatsuki organization. Longmu is exposed, and the language is amazing. After the voice fell, everyone who was still bowing their heads and sobbing just now. They all raised their heads suddenly, took a breath of air conditioning, and were at a loss, unable to move like clay sculptures and wood carvings. No, absolutely not. The Revolutionary Army cannot live without your leadership. Eastern Army Commander Bello Betty stood up in panic and vetoed it. Yes, it's impossible. Without you, our combat strength is simply not enough to shake the position of celestial dragons. The commander of the Northern Army, Crow, who has been seldom speaking, hastily dissuaded him at this moment. Long, we will go with you. You can't stop us. It is impossible for you, Commander, to take this risk alone. The commander of the Western Army, the fatty Mori who looks like a man, looks extremely determined. Commander-in-Chief. Quote. I was too emotional, sorry. Let's take a long-term view on this matter. Sabo was so panicked that his heart was broken, he quickly bowed his head and admitted his mistake. He believes in Dragon, who is the commander-in-chief, and wants to get Bear back more than anyone else. He was afraid that Long would really go to the important person of Akatsuki alone. No, this matter cannot be dragged on any longer. Listen to Ivankov's description. The transformation of the bear has come to an end. Quote. I must take it back before the bear completely loses its will. Long shook his head, not being moved by the words of his subordinates. Not even the slightest shake in his heart. Shang, as one of the earliest members of the Revolutionary Army who followed behind him, has reason and obligation to take this risk for him. Advertisement. Even if lost his own combat power. But he believes that Sabo will be able to bring the Revolutionary Army to a higher height. The fire of salary can also start a prairie fire. The idea of the Revolutionary Army, passed down from generation to generation, will continue forever. Until the day the revolution succeeds. Voice down. Without waiting for everyone to stop him, the figure of the dragon disappeared out of thin air in the combat conference room. Only the people who were looking at each other were left in place. Chief of Staff, what should we do? The commander-in-chief must have gone to Marineford. Our intelligence personnel gave me our information before, saying that the Shao organization has signs of taking root in Ma, Zhao Wanghao, Lin Fanduo. Without any hesitation, the commander of the Western Army asked directly. The commander-in-chief is not here, and the chief of staff Sabo is the second chair. They still need to listen to his opinions. We can't lose Drago. Lindbergh, the commander of the Southern Army, looked very disappointed, and spoke slowly. Sabo looked serious. Looking around, the meaning of everyone's eyes was changed by his panoramic view. A long time. I know what you think. But if we follow the dragon, waiting for us is annihilated. And Long's own idea is, he's going to take that risk, if it fails. We also want to take his share and fulfill the ideal of the revolutionary army. Sabo let out a breath slowly, with an indescribably sad expression on his face. 089. How terrifying is the background of the Akatsuki organization? 1/6. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. New World. The Whitebeard pirates are having a banquet at the moment. Celebrating the comeback of Ace, a lively scene. Ace, I didn't expect you to be really lucky. Marine dispatched so many strong men, but none of them took you down. Marco takes a sip of his drink, pats Ace on the arm, and walks away. It can be said that the mood is very good. The depression and worry about gains and losses a while ago were swept away. Marco, don't make fun of me. However, thank you anyway. Ace suddenly turned his head to look at Marco seriously, and thanked him solemnly. What? Why did it suddenly become sensational? We are brothers. Brother is in trouble, will I watch? Although I'm not very useful, that old thief Sengoku really dares to touch you. I have to give him a fire so that he doesn't even leave ashes. Marco was taken aback for a moment, then adjusted himself the next moment, with a smile on his face. Marco, do you have a chance to be on this talent list? Whitebeard is also in a good mood at the moment. He who quit drinking 857 originally drank again on this special day. Quote. I'd better forget it, it's too difficult, there are too many talents in this world. But I think Dad and Ace should be on the list. Marco waved his hand and hurried back. He is very clear about his own talent. As the first group of crew members who followed Whitebeard, their current strength is no more than that. And Ace's terrifying talent is amazing. Advertisement. Marco, you're just kidding me. If I can be on the talent list, I won't be able to defeat Blackbeard and be captured by Marine. I think those from the Akatsuki organization will definitely occupy a lot of lists. Ace looked bitter and shook his head. As soon as the voice fell, everyone present put down their wine glasses and bowls in unison. Do you know? Fortunately, there was no conflict with them at that time, otherwise, our pirate group may be hit like never before. After hearing this, Whitebeard's face was solemn, and he was also afraid for a while. Such a powerful Shao organization turned out to be the force under the leader's command. And, all the forces on the list are also the forces under the command of the top. Can't be bothered, can't be bothered. Whitebeard, who is not afraid of anything, is also in a panic at the moment. So far so good. Now that I think about it, I'm afraid. Fortunately, Dad, you let me hold back. Marco's face was also full of fear, knowing that when Nagato killed regardless of the enemy and himself, he almost couldn't help but shoot Obito. Thinking about it now, it's so terrifying, it's really an overpowering thought. By the way Ace, I see you came out of Obito's eye. What are Obito's eyes, how can they fit yours? Foil Vista came up to him at this time, very curious. This. Ace who was being questioned suddenly looked solemn. There are incomplete words. He wondered whether he should answer. Just because what he saw and heard was too unimaginable and shocking. What's wrong? Kneading is not your style, Ace. Advertisement. Confused, Marco tapped Ace on the shoulder. Mother-in-law, that's not what a man should look like. Ace, Guoaojing said. Jaws's curiosity was also aroused at this time, and he was excited. Okay. Ace looked around and saw the eager eyes of everyone. Gritting his teeth, he opened his mouth and said, there is a different space with no end in sight. Under the feet cafe are rectangular pillars. What I don't understand is that besides me, and devil fruit. Dense devil fruit, Logia, zone, paramesha. It adds up to at least. Speaking of this, Ace paused and swallowed. Hundreds of them. As he spoke, Ace pointed out a finger. Question mark. Hundreds of pills. Devil fruit. Hiss. After hearing this, everyone present took a deep breath. Everyone was dumbfounded, as if struck by lightning, they stood there in a daze. What? More than 100 pieces? Even if the celestial dragons in the Holy Land don't have so many. Where did the Akatsuki organization collect so many? Beasta couldn't believe it, because the surrounding road. Ace doesn't joke about things like this. Advertisement. That self-proclaimed absolute guy from the other party's organization has terrifying abilities. It can appear anywhere in the world at will, as if it is integrated with this world. If it's because of him, it should be easy to collect these. Whitebeard's face was extremely serious, and he slowly expressed the guess in his heart. But, the strength of the Shao organization is already so strong. It stands to reason that they look down on Devil Fruit's power. Whitebeard thought for a moment, and was once again confused. Not to mention the disadvantages of Devil Fruit, it takes a lot of time to develop a Devil Fruit. And even if it is developed to Grandmaster, or awakened. Not as powerful as Conqueror's Haki, and Akatsuki's power is even higher than that. There is no need to spend time on this at all. Dad. You said it might have something to do with Vegapunk. Vegapunk's bloodline factor in previous years, artificial Devil Fruit project. It shows that he has a deep understanding of Devil Fruit. Marco wasn't sure. Frowning slightly, he also thought about it. They want to mass-produce Devil Fruit. Create an army of devil fruit from white zetsu. What did Whitebeard think of this time? He stood up suddenly, his face full of disbelief. If he's right, that's horrific. It should be a breeze for them. Doflamingo of the Don Quixote family also joined the Akatsuki organization. But how could Akatsuki agree? Can only be. The Smile Man made devil fruit plan in Brother Ming's hands. Marco looked horrified, and said slowly. 090. Yang Yan, the purifying flame that burns all impurities, 2/6. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. It's really a big game. What these forces want to do now, we have no way of knowing. Whether it is for destruction or for peace, it is a matter between Mubai's thoughts. Whitebeard's complexion was more solemn than ever. Slowly express the worry in my heart. Okay. All the faces present were solemn, and their hearts seemed to be covered with a layer of haze. They were so overwhelmed that they could not breathe. At the same time, the big mom pirates hiding in Wanokuni Pier. At this moment, the atmosphere is also dignified. Everyone looked at each other in blank dismay, without saying a word for a long time. They were waiting for the ant to speak. Well, return to the voyage. Dafu, you go and prepare for the departure. The Akatsuki organization alone can fight Marine hard. Not to mention the strength of the Knights of the Round Table, even if we cooperate with Kaido. It's also a dead end. Charlotte Linlin looked solemn, and spoke slowly. Yes, Mom. Dafu agreed without any hesitation. In my heart, I couldn't help it, and I secretly breathed a sigh of relief. You must know that once Big Mom decides to join forces with Kaido, he will fight against the Knights of the Round Table like this. Cannon fodder at best. Mom, your decision is too wise. We should save our energy and form an alliance with Kaido, the risk is too great. I don't know what kind of cramp that guy Kaido has, and he actually provoked the Knights of the Round Table. Advertisement. The eldest son of the Charlotte family, Perospero, smiled. He also breathed a sigh of relief from the bottom of his heart, fighting against the Knights of the Round Table. Give him 10,000 guts, but he wouldn't dare, it's a battle of life and death. Originally, I wanted to wait and see, if the strength of the Knights of the Round Table is not very strong. We took down the Knights of the Round Table, and then the Akatsuki organization, and annexed their gold list rewards. But the gold list has been exposed, and both organizations belong to that Mubai guy. There is no chance of winning at all. Bigmom sighed, thankful that he was not impulsive. Then she grinned and spoke again. However, this gold list seems to have seen through the plight of our pirate group. The new list is the talent list. In terms of talent, my Charlotte family is definitely the best in the world. When the aunt said that she was excited, she opened her hands and couldn't help laughing. Her aunt has always been very concerned about talent, it can be said that she has put a lot of effort into it. Over the years, she has been catching all kinds of men with high talents and good races to have children. Now her children are all talented existences. That's right, Mom. Let's go back to Cake Island and wait for the announcement of the gold list. At that time, our combat power will be unprecedentedly strengthened. Perospero also raised the corners of his mouth, and his heart was active. The Charlotte family has 39 daughters and 46 sons. Plus the powerful Desert 3 generals. They don't have any reason not to reap huge benefits from this talent list. HMPH, even if it doesn't reach the height of Mubai. But, the future will be long as we know how to endure. The aunt grinned, and the haze in her heart was swept away. Advertisement. At this time, there are already dangerous seeds in her heart. Wanokuni, the capital of flowers, inside the general's mansion. At the moment the atmosphere is very depressing. Just because two unexpected guests came. At this time, the Knights of the Round Table have advanced to Wanokuni, the highest power center on the surface. Kurozumi Orochi, as the monarch, the people of the country are in dire straits. Do you still have the leisure and elegance to watch flowers and dance here? Arturia's face was extremely gloomy, and she asked sharply. The anger that had been suppressed for several days finally erupted completely at this moment. If it is not for the disintegration from the inside, to avoid civilian casualties. She must have found Kurozumi Orochi early. Who are you? Take me easily, but you will pay a heavy price. Why don't you surrender to me now, maybe I will reluctantly spare your life. Kurozumi Orochi frowned slightly, and became vigilant in his heart. Zero looking for flowers. At the same time, Kazuki Hiri, who was playing the instrument, involuntarily stopped playing. The guard behind Kurozumi Orochi, Kuroshiro. It is also eye-catching. Ha ha. Gao Wen, did you hear that? Still thinking about recruiting us? It seems that this person is not aware of his situation at the moment. Arturia was caught off guard and burst out laughing. Even that guy Kaido, dare not talk to her like that. Advertisement. The puppet monarch that Kaido pushed to the throne, can actually say such a thing. Huh, what are you laughing at? Damn, Kwangshalang, go up to me and take down the other party. Kurozumi Orochi looked at each other with mockery in his eyes. Anger suddenly rose in my heart, and I drank loudly. Okay, General Kurozumi. Kwangshi Lang squinted his eyes, and the corners of his mouth curled up. After finishing speaking, under the expectant eyes of Kurozumi Orochi, he left the stage slowly. You are not qualified enough to let me do it myself. I'll let you guys know what happens when you provoke me, but I'll leave you with a dead body. Kurozumi grinned and laughed. He didn't have the slightest doubt about Quangshi Lang's combat power. This is also his most powerful subordinate. When he was recruited for the first time, he did not expect that little Wanokuni would have such a talent as Quangshi Lang. The yang flame of the purifying flame that burns away all impurities. At this moment, Gao Wen Yanran didn't want to hear anything from the other party, so she took out her sword and stood in front of her chest. Raging, the scorching yang yan instantly ignited and attached to the entire sword body. Instantly, the moisture in the air in the room evaporates instantly. Everyone present was thirsty, and the sweat on their foreheads couldn't stop falling. Back, quick, don't go near that man. Quangshi Lang's complexion suddenly changed, and he shouted loudly. After all, he jumped into the crowd of dancers and stood in front of them. The dancers and Kazuki Hiyori were taken aback for a moment, but they quickly realized it. Then make a mess. 9091. Denjiro, top 5 actor list, Kurozumi Orochi dies. 3/6. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Humph. Gao Wen saw Quangshi Lang's movements. Suddenly take the blade away from the opponent's body. Facing the throne, on the Kurozumi Orochi who looks terrified at the moment. Rotating the sword of victory. A soft shout resounded. Immediately, the dazzling golden light mixed with the sun flames, and it exploded suddenly. Gorgeous and dignified atmosphere rushing towards us. What lies underneath is endless murderous intent. Damn. Yachi Orochi. Kurozumi Orochi looked angry, without any hesitation. Expand the beast form directly. His intuition told him that this gorgeous blow contained irresistible power. Boom. Boom. In the blink of an eye, the thunderous sword energy directly penetrated into his chest. Under Kurozumi's unbelievable gaze, 797 directly passed through. And after penetrating through, this scorching heat continues to spread. Go straight to the sky. Thump. At the same time, the Kurozumi snake slowly slid off the throne and lay motionless on the ground. There is no longer any vitality. Gao Wen, are you making too much of a fuss? Is it necessary to liberate to deal with garbage like him? Artoria frowned slightly, feeling slightly displeased. My lord, he has spoken insulting words to you. You must bear the corresponding punishment. The majesty of the king cannot be trampled on. Advertisement. Gao Wen retracted his sword and knelt down on one knee. Forget it, get up. We have to speed up our movements, and the adults should be impatient. Artoria sighed helplessly, then reminded, although she didn't pay much attention to Xiao's organization's actions. But the whole ocean has already spread the word. Even the information blocked Wanokuni has all kinds of gossip. The Akatsuki organization has taken action. She doesn't want the Knights of the Round Table to lag behind the Akatsuki organization. Stop it, we shouldn't be enemies. Let me introduce myself, my name is Denjiro. One of the Red Sheath 9 heroes. You don't look like Wanokuni locals, do you? Kagashiro, standing in front of all the dancers, knew that Kurozumi Orochi was dead, so there was no need to continue acting. He directly revealed his identity. What, you? You are. Denjiro. Kazuki and Hai reacted at this moment, covered their mouths, and were amazed. Okay, what are you talking about here? What Denjiro, Kushiro? What about the Red Sheath 9 heroes? Artoria frowned slightly and asked aloud. Your Excellency, it's better for the little girl to explain to the two adults. Kazuhi bowed slightly and spoke. At this moment, she had already calmed down her emotions. The Red Sheath 9 heroes are composed of 9 retainers of Wanokuni, the Wishing Kuri Daimyo, Kazuki Oden. Because of its great strength and firm heart of loyalty, the world is in awe, calling it the Red Sheath 9 heroes. The members are composed of Kinemon, Denjiro, Kurozumi Kanjuro, Kikunojo, Raizo, Ashura Doji, Kawamatsu, Anuarashi, and Nekomushi. And the one in front of the two adults is Denjiro. It's just that for some unknown reason, he changed his image and concealed his identity. Advertisement. But, Denjiro, as long as you're fine. Kazuki Hiyori patted his chest and smiled. The joy of reuniting after a long absence is beyond words. Then why did you change your name? Still being Kurozumi Orochi's subordinate. Aren't the Red Sheath 9 all loyal? Why betray Kazuki Oden? After hearing this, Arturia frowned again. You know she really hates betrayal. It was a misunderstanding, my lord. Denjiro shook his head, ready to explain. There is a change in the sky, and the golden light suddenly appears. Everyone raised their heads suddenly. This is a change from Jinbang. The new list has arrived. Everyone was full of doubts, they were all waiting for the preface of the list to fall. This issue's list, extra episode actor list top 5 to 10 P1. 5th place in the actor list, Denjiro the Red Sheath 9 heroes. Close black lens bracket. Evaluation. Loyalty to the liver, righteousness and courage, and forbearance under the enemy. Close black lens bracket. Reward. A supremely sharp knife. .0. Exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark. With the opening of the prologue, the whole Wano Kuni is plunged into unprecedented turmoil. Onijima's Kaido looked up at the same time. Red Sheath 9 heroes. There are still people alive. Don't wait for him to think about it. The projection is opened. In the picture, a little boy wearing sunglasses appeared on the camera. The clothes on his body are very worn out, and even his clothes have at least 20 patches due to the large and small patches. It can be seen that his family is very poor. Exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark. Advertisement. Hey, this guy is Denjiro, the protagonist of this issue. I want to see how deep this guy's acting skills are. It actually ranks 5th, HMPH. Over the sea, there are many guys who don't know Denjiro. The name of the Red Sheath 9 heroes is also unknown. How can this convince them? That is the supreme sharp knife. There are only 12 in this world. No one is jealous of this. Of course, there are those who are jealous and those who feel sympathy. It's really pitiful. This dress is probably the only one he has. There are so many patches, I can't bear to change one. I'm afraid I don't feel full from the meal, but I'm still so optimistic. Some women who are overflowing with motherhood are also sighing at this moment. Screen continues. Kodenjiro came to the door of a grocery store. Boss, the pot I bought was 1.8 smaller. I want a bigger one. Denjiro took out a new pot from his back strap and said. There is a trace of brilliance in the eyes. Ah, did you buy the wrong one? Okay, 30 for the small one, 60 for the big one. Seeing that the other party was a child, the boss didn't care, and nodded in agreement. So the small pot I just bought can be returned, right? Denjiro grinned, revealing an innocent smile. Yeah, I can give you a refund. The boss nods. And then, when I first bought this small pot. Paid 30, right? Denjiro answered, not giving the other party a chance to think. That's right. The boss didn't care and nodded. 092. Survive under the frying pan for an hour. Ha. 4/6. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Okay, yes. The boss looked slightly taken aback, but still nodded. There is nothing wrong with what the other party said, but it always feels weird. That's fine. 60 silver, give me a bigger one. Denjiro grinned. That's it, okay, I'll get it for you right now. The boss smiled and nodded. He casually picked up a new pot and handed it to the other party. The appearance of the other party's harmless child made him not think too much. Okay, thank you boss. As a result, Shinab, Denjiro ran away in a hurry. He's really a child, he's in such a hurry to do everything. The boss sighed, and then looked at the small pot on the table. God was stunned. What? It's not right. He didn't pay, he just gave me a small pot. Damn. At this time, he finally reacted. However, Denjiro has already run away a long way. Brat, you stop for me. Don't catch you for me. If you catch you, you will die. The boss shouted, but it is not easy to catch up with 20, and the grocery store needs to be watched by himself. Exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark. At this point in the picture, the audience watching the projection all looked at each other in blank dismay. Who was still sympathizing with this little guy just now? It's really shameful, because of the 30 silver, I don't even want to lose my face. It's really embarrassing for us men. Advertisement. I can't stand it any longer, and this is why it's still on the list. This acting depends on others' sympathy for him, right? If this even made the list, then don't I have a chance too? For a time, there was a lot of discussion all day long. And Wano Kuni. In a grocery store, the turbid eyes of the old man with white hair suddenly revealed light. After a long time, he let out a sigh. I didn't expect that fellow Denjiro to be alive. It's good to be alive, it's good to be alive. The old man showed a kind smile, his face was very similar to the boss on the gold list. www. The screen continues. This time the screen of the gold list accelerated. A brief introduction to Denjiro's experience. And the cause and effect of joining Oden's minions. Then the screen turns again. When seeing the scene on the screen, the whole sea boils. What did they see? A huge boiler filled with boiling oil and water. At this moment, a person who was checking the oil temperature accidentally slipped into the pot. Exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark. ZZZ. Time Lala, what? You, Master Kaido, save me. Help me. Accompanied by shrill screams. His whole body began to turn red, and he couldn't stop steaming from top to bottom. Under normal circumstances, scalding hot water can scald people to death. Advertisement. What's more, this is not boiling water, but the oil temperature is nearly 10 times higher than that of boiling water. His skin began to fall off almost instantly, and then the meat began to emit fragrance. On the screen, Kaido is sitting on a big chair drinking fine wine, without the slightest intention of making a move. Soon the human flesh that fell into the frying pan began to turn black, and then turned into fly ash. Exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark. Hiss. Looking at the cruel projection of Jinbang. Countless pairs of eyes stared at this tragic scene. Everyone in this sea can't help but gasp. Too cruel. Even the meat is melted, only the bones are left. It's terrible, the high temperature instantly burns people away. How desperate must the person who fell in be? As the four emperors Kaido still in the mood to drink. Is this the most evil pirate, the four emperors? Some of them directly vomited out their stomachs. Some of the timid ones trembled uncontrollably and their faces were terrified. Horrible. Goosebumps all over my body just thinking about it, can't stop jumping out. But the next moment, the content in the picture shocked their jaws. 10 of us, let's cook together. In the picture, a man with phoenix eyes and thick eyebrows has no wavering or fear in his face. If someone can persist until the time you stipulated without dying, you just let them go, right? Kazuki Oden reconfirmed with a resolute expression on his face. Lord Oden. Behind them, the 9 heroes in red sheaths shouted in amazement. They are not greedy for life and afraid of death. Although death with Patriarch Oden is the best destination, but Wano Kuni can live without the red sheath 9 heroes. But not without Kazuki Oden. Without Kazuki Oden, is there hope for more brutal reign after all? What? Advertisement. Stay alive. Didn't you just come to the end of that person? Do you think that's possible? Kaido snorted coldly, expressing his incomprehension. As the master of Wano Kuni, you shouldn't make a mistake in front of so many people, right? Kazuki Oden shook his head and asked again. Slip of speech. Who do you think lousy is? 520 inches bring me a clock. After all, he burst out laughing. At this moment, in his heart, Kazuki Oden and the Red Sheath 9 heroes have failed in their uprising. There is absolutely no chance of survival now. So, he decided to give Oden such a chance. I'll give you an hour. You keep trying, I want to see that your willpower is amazing. The temperature of this oil is amazing. 1 hour is enough for even a bath. Kaido shouted loudly, the corners of his mouth rose wildly. 1 hour. The faces of the Red Sheath 9 heroes were suddenly filled with endless anger. This is making things difficult on purpose. A deal. However, at this moment, the corners of Oden's mouth also grinned. Ask back. Clatter. All the people under the execution platform became noisy. Crazy man. Even though he was about to die, he still looked calm. It's really a wicked heart. I still have things to do, can't these prisoners hurry in? Oden, a traitor, how dare you negotiate terms with Master Kaido? Even if this kind of person is scalded to death, it is not enough to be a pity. A loud noise resounded through the air. 093. Ace's decision to go to Wano Kuni, 5/6. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The comments from the people of Wano Kuni off the field were extremely cruel. I don't think there is any inappropriateness in using such criminal law on Oden. Kaido listened to the discussions off the court, the corners of his mouth curled up. Of course, I am 4 emperors Kaido. What you promise, never break your word. Kaido gave a loud shout and looked at Oden. After Kazuki Oden heard this, the corners of his mouth curled up crazily. Not any. Even the slightest hesitation is like moths to a flame. Oden suddenly bounced and leapt high. Then jumped into the hot oil pan like the abyss of hell. Z-lala. Z-lala. The oil and water splashed and fell on the ground, corroding the ground crazily. Even the tyrannical Oden couldn't help but let out a miserable scream at this moment. Even his monstrous physique couldn't bear the scalding heat. Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. Everyone who saw this was in awe. They were all moved by Kazuki Oden's unrestrained, fearless spirit. A surge of admiration from the bottom of my heart is hard to express. This guy, a real man, without any hesitation, without any sign of fear, except this kind of torture like a human being. As this Kazuki Oden, although I haven't heard his name. But he earned my admiration. Kazuki Oden, real man. My idol, even if it is difficult, we should face it. One after another exclamation, one after another. Advertisement. Gradually, all the voices converge into one piece. Kazuki Oden, Kazuki Oden, Kazuki Oden. It's like a cult is holding a ceremony. The people in the sea are spontaneously shouting loudly. Cheer up for the screaming Oden in the picture. Whitebeard's gang on the Fishmen Island. The atmosphere at the moment is very strange. Everyone stood there in a daze, not saying a word. But their tightly clenched fists at the moment. It indicates that their state of mind is not peaceful at the moment. A long time. Whitebeard finally couldn't contain his anger. Angry and roaring. Kaido. That guy actually put Oden. I will never spare him. Whitebeard couldn't suppress the emotions in his heart at this time. Although Oden died at the hands of Kaido, he knew it. But, I didn't expect it to be this way. This is simply humiliating a strong man like Oden. Marco was stunned. He had never seen Whitebeard so furious. Whitebeard always looks like a loving father, in the hearts of everyone. Hardly any fire, except for the Blackbeard incident before. House of Oden. Yizang dressed as a girl, his face is also full of surprise. The anger in my heart is rising. Although he is no longer Oden's retainer. But the relationship between the two. Advertisement. Won't erase over time. It's not just Yizang. Chaozi, Beasta and other veteran crew members are all in complicated moods, clenching their fists with both hands and trying to suppress their anger. Dad, I'm going to avenge Kazuki Oden. Even Ace stood up with a serious expression at this moment. Voice down. Everyone calmed down a little from their grief and indignation. He looked at Ace in shock. Everyone, don't look at me like that. I just joined everyone in place of Oden's original position. As for Oden, I have also heard a lot about each other's deeds from everyone's ears. I look up to him too, it's like meeting him. But, a man of his stature, was treated in this way by Kaido. I know, everyone has been holding back since learning of Oden's death. Ace's complexion was unprecedentedly solemn, and he persuaded everyone seriously. Nonsense. When did we suppress ourselves? Foil Vista looked flustered and shouted loudly. Although his position is not as high as Ace, there is no relationship between Whitebeard and High. In his eyes, Ace is his younger brother. Ace, we never restrained. We just don't have the strength to fight Kaido. Marco also agreed at this time. It's up to now, I've said that it's up to me. Don't you understand yet? We are all father's sons, brothers. Do you think you can keep it from my eyes? You've never been afraid of Kaido at all. Not to mention that Dad himself is fearless. Advertisement. The reason why you are suppressing yourself is that you are worried that my strength is not enough and you will accidentally die on the battlefield. You are just here to protect me. Ace didn't choose to back down this time, and loudly dismissed it. Originally, he kept Oden's hatred in his heart and encouraged himself to grow. But nowadays, the picture exposed by the gold list has already made him unbearable. Little ones, set sail. To Wano-kuni. Looks like we're going to cooperate with Mubai's forces again. Whitebeard grinned and drank. He is well aware of Ace's temperament, even he can't stop what he decides. Are you okay, what? Daddy. Marco's pupils shrunk. Surprised. You must know that a large part of the reason they endured it was because of Whitebeard's order. Whitebeard saw the potential in Ace. So I chose not to avenge Oden and concentrate on cultivating him. The sudden change of mind now makes Marco feel puzzled. Marco. Miscellaneous. We can't stop the hatred in our hearts. The gold list now exposes the inhuman torture Oden suffered. We can no longer sit still. Whitebeard shook his head and spoke slowly. After listening to everyone present, they all have one way in their hearts. Yes, they couldn't contain the anger in their hearts at all. Even if Dad disagrees, they might as well go find that guy Kaido. 094. Thousands of boils and hundreds of cookings are so tasteful, the curtain comes to an end, 6/6. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. In the sky, the screen of the gold list is still going on. Don't let the monarch suffer alone, let's go. Jinwei gritted their teeth and drank a lot. See you in hell. Denjiro bid farewell to everyone slowly and jumped up high. As soon as the words fell, the 9 heroes of the Red Sheaths all had firm faces and jumped up high. They are going to die with Patriarch Oden. Oden, who had been screaming, also sensed the people who were about to fall into the frying pan. He suddenly picked up the side pedal and lifted it above his head. Step, step, tread. The sound of 9 consecutive footsteps landing resounded. Next moment, the scene that shocked the audience appeared. I saw Oden resisting the baptism of high-temperature hot oil, while suddenly using wooden boards to support all the Red Sheath 9 heroes. Keep it from soaking in the oil temperature! Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. The screen exposed by Jinbang has too much visual effect. The people who are paying attention are all dumbfounded, so shocked that they can't help but scream. Real man. 937. Kazuki Oden. With this patriarch, Lousy must be dead and want to report. This is nothing short of a miracle. This picture makes me cry, brothers. Is this the spirit of Oden? The spirit of a monarch is well deserved. This is much better than watching Kaido's hand fall and not saving him. Don't compare Kaido with Oden. They are not on the same level, Oden is the real man. Advertisement. Shish. HMPH. The Knights of the Round Table have declared war on Kaido, that guy Kaido is not far from death. He deserved what he deserved. Die early and be reborn early. No matter how everyone marvels and admires. Oden's death was already a fact. The screen continues. The flames that burn to hell continue to rise, hitting Kazuki Oden's skin every moment. Even so, his hands are extremely tough. As stable as his will. Firmly support the 9 heroes in the Red Sheath, and hold up the 9 people flatly. K. The Red Sheath 9 heroes who didn't feel any pain suddenly opened their eyes. All of a sudden, their mouths grew wide and their pupils sharpened. You must know that the devastation of this high temperature has made Oden extremely painful. But now, I and others are still pressing on each other. Stop it, Lord Oden. Isn't this the reverse of master and servant? Kinemon's face is sad, because the others are also shouting Oden's name. All, shut up. Stay there obediently, don't move. Although Kazuki Oden was in so much pain that he was delirious at the moment, he still mustered up all his strength and started drinking. The tone is firm and cannot be resisted. This is my order, you as retainers must abide by it. Just lifting the weight of the red sheath 9 is exaggerated. Now he is still suffering from the burning and heat like hell. Advertisement. How shocking and masculine is that? What is this? Those 9 heroes in red sheaths were not soaked in the oil pan at all. Beside Kaido, an ugly man shouted loudly. He, Kurozumi Orochi, was thinking about the death of all these people all the time. In this way, he can accept the capital of flowers with peace of mind. Ha ha ha. However, before the other party came back, Kaido couldn't help but burst out laughing. As expected of you, Oden. Ha ha ha. This can be regarded as, in the oil pan, there is nothing wrong with it. Kaido's laughter resounded. Suddenly, the Kurozumi snake retracted, not daring to make any more movements. He didn't dare to offend Kaido. Now he is Kaido's dog, a disobedient dog will end badly. Gurgling. Lala. The shuddering sound of boiling still continued. It's so boring. Didn't you say execution? How did it take so long to kill that guy Oden? Where was his scream just now? Why didn't he scream? Did he die completely? In the audience, all the people in Wano-kuni who didn't know the truth complained one after another. The hatred in my heart, even if it is like this, can't be relieved. It should be that he is not completely dead. Is that guy still insisting on dragging the Red Sheath 9 heroes? Someone made a sarcasm. HMPH, let's see how long he can hold on. That person is not a good thing. I hope they will die soon. I don't want to waste a moment watching them play your highness's game. Haha, heroes see the same thing. What kind of relationship between monarch and minister are these guys still playing there? Advertisement. Show me I'm throwing up. Die quickly. I don't know who suddenly shouted loudly, and it touched the hearts of everyone. Immediately, the originally noisy discussions became uniform. Die, Oden, die, Oden, die, Oden. 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. 50 minutes. The physical torture has overwhelmed Oden, and now the words of the people are more like whispers from hell. Hovering in his ears, I want to use this to completely break his will. Who? Oden's expression had already changed beyond recognition at this moment, and he was still standing with a will to support him. His eyes were fixed on the alarm clock next to Kaido. His will is already extremely fragile, and he may suddenly become unconscious at any time. But he can't do that, he wants to let the Red Sheath 9 heroes live. He opened his mouth. I would like to turn it into a joke, for people to drink, and nothing else. I don't care about boiling oil and hot soup. It tastes so much after 1,000 boils. The more you boil the Oden, the more delicious it will be. Lousy is Kazuki Oden known as Oden. Accompanied by a roar resounding. Click. A tiny voice resounded. That was the sound of bones breaking. It's an hour and the alarm clock next to Kaido is ringing loudly. At the moment when Oden fell down, he relied on his will and used his last remaining strength. Violently throw the Red Sheath 9 heroes out of the frying pan. 095. The bald-headed temperament changed overnight, as if it was a different person. 1/6. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. Clatter. At this point in the picture, everyone couldn't bear it anymore, and they all felt emotional in their hearts. There are even sensational ones, and I can't help crying. But at this moment, the screen projected by Jinbang changed again. In a room, little candles flicker. Denjiro sat at the table without saying a word, his eyes were dull, as if he had lost any energy. And on the table was a letter. He slowly made a move, and opened it tiredly. Another bad news. Denjiro's reader's expression was already numb. I can't see any sadness, and it can even be said that there is no expression. First, the death of the Lord Kazuki Oden. The whereabouts of the young master Momonosuke and Hiyori are unknown again. Oden Castle burned. The Kazuki family has all been defeated by the enemy and thrown into prison. Denjiro said this, but his expression was not bright. As if at this moment he was already a puppet without a soul. And yet, as his eyes fell to the last paragraph of the letter, he stood up abruptly, his eyes without any color just now. Shrink like crazy. Princess Kazuki's prophecy. The decisive battle after many years. With the past and the future. Denjiro's expression was extremely shocked, and he screamed again and again. But, if Princess Kazuki activates her ability, it will mean death. Advertisement. The piercing heartache broke out suddenly. Kaido. Denjiro's anger from the depths of his heart finally couldn't help venting it. Not only is Oden dead, the whereabouts of Oden's son and daughter are unknown. Oden's servants were also exterminated, and Yudianfu was burned to the ground. Now even Oden's love is doomed. As Oden's vassal, all he has in his heart is endless hatred and unwillingness. Wano-kuni. Denjiro kept hitting the wall, and a series of shrill voices suddenly sounded out. This tragic roar did not attract their attention. With Kaido's action to clear the payment in the past few days, they have become accustomed to this kind of voice. A long time. Denjiro's throat was finally making any sound. After venting for a long time, his throat has been dry, and he can no longer utter any characters. Even more exaggerated is, at this moment, his hair has all faded from black to white. Just overnight. Not only is the hair white, but the aura of the whole person has also undergone earth-shaking changes. Even his appearance has changed because of this, and the original frivolity and immaturity have been swept away. There is only the face with a perpetual evil smile and half-closed eyes, making people unpredictable. From then on, there will be no more Denjiro, the 9 heroes of the Red Sheath. Denjiro is dead, there are only Kushiro. After the words fell, he put the letter into the coal fire and let it burn up. As his voice fell, the screen turned again, and there was a bright sun in the sky. On this day, Kurozumi Orochi was about to return to the general's mansion, and he was in a good mood for a while. Oden's big and small forces have already been cleared and become more and more clean. Advertisement. The one in front, come and someone. Suddenly, a loud shout resounded in front of the convoy. Interrupting Kurozumi Orochi's thoughts, he felt a little unhappy. The good mood just now is also gone. Thinking of him opening the car curtain, wanting to see who this Wanokuni is, who has the guts to provoke me, Kurozumi Orochi. Sorry, Xiao Minfang is thinking about something. I lost my mind for a while. At this moment, Guangxi Lang, whose appearance changed drastically, began begging for mercy in a panic. Quote exclamation mark quote. Are you blind? What's the use of begging for mercy now? Go to hell and repent. The guard didn't show any mercy, and just put one hand on the blade. Bass. Accompanied by a golden sound. The sun's rays refracted onto the guard's sword blade, and it was instantly bitingly cold. Grown-ups. Forgive Xiaomin. If Xiaomin knows that it is General Kurozumi's convoy, he will be absolutely respectful. General Kurozumi is an existence that villains admire. Zero looking for flowers. Guangxilang felt the other party's killing intent, and became even more flustered. Humph. Kurozumi Orochi, who was observing this farce, was ecstatic when he heard this expression. The vanity in my heart became more troublesome. But this is not enough for him to move and let the other party go. Dare to stop his car, regardless of excuses, is a dead end. Otherwise, where does the prestige of my Kurozumi Orochi come from? Go to hell and repent. The corner of the guard's mouth showed a trace of cruelty, and he turned a blind eye to the other party's pleading. Advertisement. Die. Accompanied by his loud shout. He suddenly swung the blade in his hand, wanting to kill the opponent with one blow. .00. B. The next moment, his haughty expression stiffened abruptly. Clang. Yue's vibrating sound resounded when the blade tip collided. Guangxilang raised his sword with one hand and easily blocked the blow. My lord, just let it go, I am willing to work for the black-haired general. Although he easily blocked the ultimate move, his face was as timid and begging for mercy as before. Okay. Laymen watch the excitement, while experts watch the doorway. Kurozumi's face in the carriage suddenly became serious. Through the opponent's random sword just now, he saw some clues. The sword is released so quickly that people can't see the timing of the attack. And for the position of the parry, it is also very good. The use of power is also extremely ingenious. How many of you? Come up with me and surround that guy. Kurozumi Orochi gave orders to the guards who were watching beside him. At this time, his expression became serious. There are so many thoughts in my heart. Although Wanokuni is a kingdom of samurai, it is not uncommon for swordsmanship to be exquisite. But this guy, he put his hand on the scabbard, and when he got out of the scabbard to block it, it was just a flash of divine effort. Even he didn't see it clearly just now, naturally there are reasons why he didn't pay too much attention. But he is sure of the opponent's strength. Definitely not those mediocre samurai. 096. Denjiro who seeks refuge under Orochi. Traitor. 2/6. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. At this moment, Kurozumi Orochi became interested in Kushiro. But it's just an interest, it's not enough to change the other party's fate of dying. With his orders, the battle in the field suddenly broke out again. Clang. Bass. Boom. The sound of collision resounded. However, even if there are a dozen guards, there is no way to take down the opponent. For a while, the battle situation fell into a stalemate. The Kurozumi Orochi in the car finally couldn't sit still. He got up and jumped off the carriage, signaling the guards to stop. May I have your name? Kurozumi Orochi came in front of him, and he always felt that the other party was somewhat familiar. But after recalling it carefully, there is no memory of the other party's appearance. Dear General Orochi, 480, Your Majesty is an orphan of Wanokuni. It's called Kushiro. When Guangxi Lang saw the person, his hands trembled uncontrollably, and his eyeballs were even more bloodshot at this moment. The hatred in my heart couldn't stop boiling. But fortunately, he is half closed at the moment, and the meaning of his eyes is perfectly covered. Crazy Dead Man. A very arrogant name, but I like it. Do you know who you are pissing off? The master of Wanokuni. The trusted general of the general's mansion. Kurozumi Orochi showed a sense of appreciation in his eyes, but he still wanted to continue hitting the opponent. Advertisement. Someone with such strength is likely to be Oden's remnants. Now is an extraordinary period, so he has no choice but to be cautious. I deserve death for my crime. I know that I made a big mistake. So I implore my lord, as long as you leave me alive, I am willing to be an ox or a horse. After hearing this, Guangxi Lang's face turned pale. The tone of speech is also extremely flustered. Thump. Even talking about the emotional part, he even fell to his knees directly. Not kneeling on one knee between monarchs and ministers. But, knee defeat. The forehead hit the ground hard. Bursts of gravel were splashed away by the movement. The protruding kowtow made Kurozumi stunned. But after a while, he recovered, and his face couldn't stop being joyful. I also have daydreams in my heart. It seems that the other party has surrendered to my domineering spirit. It seems that this guy can't be those of the Moonlight family. Those people from the Moonlight family can't wait to pull out my bones and drink it in stew. Ha ha. Thinking of this, Kurozumi couldn't help laughing. As a general, doesn't he have a powerful bodyguard? Crazy Death Lang, from now on. You are my bodyguard, Kurozumi Orochi. Not only will I not punish you, but I will also give you the money that a guard should have. Kurozumi grinned, showing his leaky teeth. Advertisement. Yes, my lord. I must protect your safety, my lord. Guangxilang, who buried his head in the soil, was trembling all over at this moment. However, in the eyes of Kurozumi Orochi, this is the other party's grateful expression. He is still proud of his means of winning people's hearts. The picture is here. The gold list also came to an end. Open black lens bracket. The 5th place in the actor list has been announced. Wait a moment and the 4th place will be announced. Close black lens bracket. The audience felt a little confused while watching this. This is gone. #T. Damn it. In order for that guy Denjiro to survive, I have to bear everything by myself. However, in exchange for it, Denjiro's betrayal. I'm so pissed off that I actually took refuge under the command of my deadly enemy and enjoyed the glory and wealth. Is this the Red Sheath 9 heroes? Damn, I really feel sorry for Oden, he was treated like a donkey. It's really not worth it in the world, hell Tana. Submit it, doesn't this Denjiro feel any guilt at all? Everyone was stunned at first, and then they cursed after thinking about it. Originally, Oden's misery could not have been more miserable, but in the end, Oden's most trusted and entrusted retainers with their lives also defected to the opponent's subordinates. How could they accept this kind of ending? 0. In an instant, the name of Denjiro spread throughout the sea. But not famous all over the world, but notoriety toward. I'm so angry to see this issue of the list. Isn't this the list of actors? The content exposed on the surface doesn't connect at all. Advertisement. Some people were puzzled, but what they got in return was the ruthless ridicule of the crowd. Whatever he is, this guy is a guy who sells for glory. He doesn't deserve to be on the list at all, the actor list. I'm afraid he is playing a loyal look. At times, when you have money, status, and temptation, you will immediately reveal your true colors. Look at that compliment, it's disgusting. Look at that flustered look, haha, you are still being called a chivalrous man by people like Wanokuni. I think I'm almost blind. Of course, although most phenomena are indignant, there are also many sensible people in this world. Beluga on its way to Wanokuni. At this moment, everyone looked at each other in blank dismay. Looking at the Jinbang projection that suddenly stopped abruptly, he remained silent for a long time. Are you saying that guy Denjiro betrayed Oden? Marco wasn't sure. It is really hard for him to accept the fact that Oden treats each other like brothers and sisters. Damn it, which 0.7 guy from Denjiliang actually fell into the sect of the black-haired snake? Waiting for Wanokuni, I must personally arrest him and question him. The former Oden vassal who looks like a woman hides the unstoppable anger on his face. Calm down everyone, I feel that you must be wrong. Ace looked seriously, and slowly spoke to persuade Kai. He looked at people, the way he looked at himself. He has always been informal, relying on his intuition to judge the character of the other party. As for Denjiro, in his intuition, the opponent is definitely not the kind of existence that would take refuge under the opponent's command. But it was all exposed by the gold list. Can the gold list be questioned? That godlike guy, Mubai didn't question it, did he? Yizhang's eyes are fierce, and his emotions are extremely excited. 097. Top 4 Old Actor, Kizaru. 3/6. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Calm down and hide. It's all happened. At this moment, Marco saw that things were about to happen and became out of control. Hurrying to Yizhang's side to comfort Kailai, as the big brother of the Baituan, he needs to take care of everyone's emotions. And now Yizhang's emotional loss of control is also within the scope of his understanding. Even he can hardly contain the anger in his heart now. I trust my instincts, but the truth has to wait for Wanokuni. Let's check carefully. Ace shook his head and spoke slowly. My heart became more serious. If Yizhang's judgment is correct, things must be going badly for Wanokuni. You two, stop arguing and talk about it. Do you think the gold list will be lost for no reason? Foil Vista suddenly asked. He has always been known for his stability and rarely interrupts the conversations of his family members. At this time, he suddenly opened his mouth, and everyone cast their eyes on him one after another. Any insight? Vista. Whitebeard was also curious and asked the doubts of everyone present. 20 Denjiro is on the actor list. As the essence of his acting skills acting as a retainer, or as a servant of Orochi. I think that boy Denjiro was a little cautious when he was a child, but his essence is actually not bad. Foil Vista shook his head and gave his own opinion. But the scenes exposed on the gold list are all the plots of Denjiro under Oden's hands. Joe's had a simple and honest face, puzzled. Hey. Isn't the last scene the plot where Denjiro joins Orochi? What if it's acted out? Have you thought about this? Advertisement. Seeing everyone, Vista still didn't understand, so he stroked his forehead involuntarily. Sigh. Have you forgotten the preface to the exposure of the gold list? Jinbang's evaluation is loyalty, righteousness and courage, and forbearance under the enemy. The Jinbang did not reveal that Denjiro has hatred for Oden, so this enemy can only be the celestial snake. Vista's voice fell. One word awakens the dreamer. Everyone present suddenly raised their heads, and their minds became clear all of a sudden. I remembered. The plot was so attractive to me just now, I forgot about it. In retrospect, everything makes sense. Denjiro is really a legend, I even questioned his character. Joes patted himself on the forehead, showing guilt. Ah. It really is. I was wrong to blame Denjiro. Yizang also came to his senses at this time, and the anger in his heart disappeared immediately. Kulala lala, maybe that's the personality of that kid Oden. That boy Denjiro can be made to do this. Whitebeard also laughed out loud at this time, his face full of nostalgia. With Whitebeard reacting, the large and small forces at sea also reflected it one after another. It's all guessed, Denjiro's real intention. However, just when everyone was still feeling guilty about it. The gold list above the sky changes here. A faint golden light flickers, but it is not dazzling. Continuing from the previous article, this issue's list, extra episode actor list top 5 to 10 P1. Open black lens bracket 4th place in actor list, Marine Admiral, Kizaru close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Evaluation. 3 years and 3 years, and finally become an entertainer. Close black lens bracket. Reward. A supremely sharp knife. Close black lens bracket. Exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark. With the opening of the preamble of the list, the whole sea suddenly fell into an unprecedented shock. Marine Admiral on the actor list. Or no. 4. Isn't this too weird? Kizaru is also on the list. Although that guy bites one bite at a time, it's scary. But isn't his acting too clumsy? Many people felt puzzled one after another, and their heads were in a cloud of fog at the moment. It really is. You should know after reading it. I remember that those powerful Marines seemed to be on the list, right? At this time, someone was puzzled. Immediately aroused everyone's memories. Yeah, Kizaru, Aokiji, Garp, Fujitora, Sengoku are all on the list. Marine Admiral plus Marshal and Marine Hero, these statuses are definitely the highest in Marine. Following the analysis, everyone was dumbfounded again. According to you, Marine is currently not on the list because of Akainu and Green Bull. If Admiral's combat power counts. Shocked, puzzled, confused. Waiting for the emotional madness to flood everyone's hearts. But at this moment, an inappropriate voice sounded. Brother, have you forgotten? Akainu Admiral. Dot was sacrificed in the Summit War, did you forget? Beheaded by Whitebeard. Advertisement. Dead people won't be on the list, right? According to the rules of the gold list that have been exposed for so many days, let's take a look at it. Someone has an opinion at this point. However, his words fell. Everyone looked at each other in blank dismay. Marine. That's 50. Above the Admiral combat level, except for the mysterious new Admiral Green Bull. All members on the list. Marine's combat power has been greatly improved in this wave. In addition to the list, the evaluation of the gold list also makes them feel puzzled. 3 years and 3 years, what the hell does that mean? Does it mean that Kizaru put in a lot of effort to be on the list? However, no one is answering all the doubts. Only because. Almost no one in the entire sea can understand the meaning of this sentence. I'm afraid only Kizaru himself can know this, right? Certainly. That one was removed. It rarely appears in the public eye, but it is often mentioned. Will not be remembered, but at a certain moment, that figure will suddenly flash in people's minds. Above the sky, a black shadow is slowly floating. Wearing a dark green coat, with a serious face, a head of black hair casually scattered behind the head, no eyebrows. Under the windbreaker is a dark suit lined with an orange shirt. 4th place. Kizaru. Damn. However, at this time, it was exposed by the gold list. A deep voice came from under the hood, and it could be heard that his complexion must not be very good at the moment. 098. Lightspeed kick. That's ridiculous. Hey. 4/6. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Kizaru, you bastard. How did you make it to the list? Sengoku's face was dark, and he asked loudly. I also have a bad premonition in my heart, and now I think about Kizaru's behavior along the way. Very suspicious indeed. Not interested in merit, not interested in yuan position. He is only interested in the salary. In the past, he just thought that Kizaru's character was like this. But now that he is on the list, the speculation in Sengoku's heart becomes more and more unstoppable. Huh, don't look at me like that. Everyone is on the list, so I'm sure I won't be able to escape. The next one may be the Green Bull. Kizaru waved his hand, speaking flirtatiously. But the state of mind is not as calm as it appears on the surface. At this moment, he can be said to be sitting on a blanket, panicking to death. But don't wait for Sengoku to ask more. The projection of the gold list finally kicked off. On screen, Kizaru appeared in Sabayati Archipelago. The crowd who watched immediately realized that this is the picture of the past. Just because of the Sabayati Archipelago on the screen, it is so new at the moment. You must know that it is full of desolation now, after the battle of Kizaru Rayleigh against Akatsuki. You guys are so scary. Are you really waiting here for my return without running away? Kicking away the fleeing supernovas, Kizaru was taken aback when he saw the people who were still there. After all, don't give everyone a chance to react. Then he kicked away Hawkins, who looked extremely calm. Ah, uncle, didn't we promise to wait for you to come back? Advertisement. How could I go? Luffy rubbed the back of his head blankly, and said. What? Kizaru's tone was a bit unbelievable, but there was an inexplicable meaning in his eyes. Is it very similar to the meaning of hating iron but not steel? Then his face turned cold, and the muscles of everyone's whole body tensed up in fright. Always ready to fight. But in fact Kizaru is not ready to be serious at the moment, but he is thinking about how to let Straw Hat Crew go. His serious thinking, in the eyes of others, is a bit like preparing to fight. However, just when he was thinking hard, in his knowledge, two strange figures appeared. The speed of the other party is extremely fast, and it is obvious that they are running towards him. The power of Marine on this island is only him. Those who came running towards him were obviously enemies. Thinking of this, the corners of his mouth curled up involuntarily. Then slowly raise your legs. Is it really scary? Quote. It's fine if you don't run away when you see me, and you have kept the agreement. A faint golden light flashed on Kizaru's feet, and it turned into golden particles in the blink of an eye. In front of Luffy. Just want to kick it off. Luffy. The Straw Hat Crew were all extremely nervous and screamed. But, a second passed. 2 seconds passed. 3 seconds passed. 10 seconds passed. At this moment, Kizaru moved extremely slowly as if someone had pressed the pause button. But at the tense moment right now, everyone subconsciously chose to ignore it. Advertisement. Hey, the one over there, if I guessed right. Are you Kizaru Admiral, one of Marine's 3 admirals? A shout sounded. Man arrives first. Joe arrives first. You are. Kizaru nodded. That's right. Who am I? Does that matter? The corners of Deidara's mouth curled up crazily after listening to the giant bird. His eyes were full, and then he controlled the giant bird to accelerate suddenly and head straight for Kizaru. Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. Clatter. As the screen played, everyone who was watching was taken aback. Suddenly reacted. Very familiar routine. Isn't this Aokiji Admiral's routine? Just raise your leg, just don't kick it down. Is this a must-have skill for Marine Admiral? When kicking other people, I can't see clearly. How can I be so slow when kicking Luffy? This difference in treatment is too obvious. Supernova Luffy, that guy is so hard backstage. For a while, the audience was in an uproar, and various discussions emerged one after another. After the exposure of the actor list several times before, they understood it almost instantly this time. Marineford. In the scientific research base organized by Akatsuki. Deidara and Shie are also looking at each other in dismay at this moment. Damn, this guy named Kizaru is playing me. You must be playing me, right? My guess was right. Quote. Advertisement. Deidara rubbed his chin with one hand, his expression couldn't stop his anger. Well, the whole world saw it. You got played by that Kizaru guy who used you to save the kid with the straw hat. It may be that his knowledge and color sensed us in advance. The red sand scorpion was expressionless and taunted. He couldn't help but let out a breath slowly in his heart, fortunately. At that time, he let Deidara go alone, and he waited behind the battlefield. Otherwise, HMPH, aren't you angry? Does it feel good to be taken advantage of by others? Deidara snorted coldly and snapped back. But, Scorpion's next words left him speechless. He even shut himself up. Scorpion gloated at Deidara and spoke slowly. Now Master Mubai should have seen the whole story through the gold list. It's you, Zhao Zhaohao, who is responsible for that matter, and it's none of my business. Most of my charges have been cleared. The corners of Scorpion's mouth curled up, and he was in a good mood. He was originally harmed by Deidara, and he didn't have a chance to explain it in vain. It's not that he doesn't want to, but some things, the more they explain, the more unreal they seem. Damn it, demon. This Kizaru, lousy is at stake with him. Okay. Deidara's complexion suddenly turned dark, and he gritted his teeth. He blamed it all on Kizaru. There has to be someone to blame, right? In my heart, I wanted to cry but had no tears. If Master Mubai found out, it was fine that he provoked the matter. Jinbang has another public execution this time. It's okay, you can't hit him. He is a sparkling fruit user, you will never have a chance to kill him. At this time, Scorpion spoke again to attack. Oh 99. Damn it, you dare to play Kizaru high-end game. 5/6. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Stop arguing, you two. At this moment, an untimely voice of anger resounded. Scorpion of Red Sand, come and help dissect this corpse. Orochimaru greeted Scorpio at this time. Today, the Shao organization is still in short supply of talents in scientific research. It would be a good choice to let a skilled hand like Scorpion dissect some corpses. Okay, that's exactly what I want, Orochimaru. The corners of the Scorpion's mouth curled up without any hesitation. Scorpion has turned into a trash guy these days, those unwanted corpses of Orochimaru Vegapunk. But it's all owned by him, and he is also interested and proud when he fights. The gold list did not give everyone time to shock. The screen changed, this time it was Marineford, towering buildings with Marine's coat of arms printed on them. This is naval headquarters before Summit War. In an instant, those who were paying attention to the gold list all reacted. The bad memories in my heart were awakened again. All of them showed horror. The war Yanran on the screen has entered a white-hot stage. The sea surface of Crescent Bay has long been frozen. And Luffy is also going all the way, wanting to rescue Ace. What a headache. 827. Kizaru looked worried. There are many thoughts in my heart. If Luffy is allowed to go under the execution platform, what Luffy will face is some top combat power of Marine. If you can't say it, you will die. Thinking of this, he didn't have any hesitation. Advertisement. He raised one hand in front of his chest, and a little bit of golden light condensed. Laser. Accompanied by a low drink. The light particles that were compressed into the ultimate burst out. Boom. Boom. Suddenly, the ground shook, and the shock wave of the explosion suddenly heated up and exploded. However, to the surprise of everyone present, that bullet-like laser from Kizaru Admiral, it missed. Unbiasedly rubbing Luffy's shoulder and falling not far behind Luffy. Billowing thick smoke ignited, and the terrifying impact directly sent Luffy flying in the direction of Kizaru. This is not where you should be. Straw Hat Kid. Kizaru narrowed his eyes, then caught Luffy in the air and kicked him back hard. Next moment, all stand up. Whitebeard in the picture was stunned, and subconsciously stretched out his hands. Luffy is in his grip. The projection screen of Jinbang came to this point with a sizzle, and the curtain came to an end. Open black lens bracket. The fourth place in the actor list has been announced. Wait a moment and the third place will be announced. Close black lens bracket. Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. It wasn't just Whitebeard who froze. Sengoku was also stunned. Except for Luffy, the Straw Hat Pirates were also stunned. Advertisement. The redhead was stunned too. Even Mubai, who was hiding somewhere in this world, was shocked. He didn't pay attention to Summit War before, which made him unexpected. The scene that happened in the original book was not changed because of the intervention of the Akatsuki organization, it happened again. I have to say that sometimes, some things are just irresistible. There is a feeling of closing the world line. Damn, this Kizaru, is it outrageous? It's too much of a coincidence, so I just passed by without mentioning it. A coincidental kick that kicked Luffy into Ubeard's hand. Did you notice that Whitebeard froze for a moment? Scary, this Kizaru Admiral, I would call him the strongest actor. Isn't this top one? This guy, under the watchful eyes of so many powerful people in Summit War and the whole world, started acting. I have to say that it is indeed Kizaru Admiral, the mentality is good, and he dares to perform in high-end games. For a while there were many opinions, Cade was completely blown up. Is this not top one? Everyone in Summit War is in full swing, but this Kizaru has been fishing in troubled waters. Acting under the noses of so many powerful people, with such vigor and dedication, I am willing to become Kizaru and become top one in the entertainment industry. There were exclamations one after another. That's right, I can't even imagine that TOP3 TOP1 air actors of the same level. Even if it's the actor list outside the episode, the competition is so fierce. Simply. At the same time, New World G1 branch, now Naval Headquarters. War meeting room. At this moment, Kizaru felt as if he was sitting on a blanket, not daring to take a breath. Constantly avoiding eyes from all directions. Advertisement. Although he was very nervous, he let out a breath slowly in his heart. At least Jinbang did not reveal his core secret. That Kizaru, should you give us an explanation? We fought fiercely, and those soldiers were struggling on the verge of life and death. You can just fish in troubled waters. Are you still putting it off? If you killed Luffy at that time, or you let him lose his action history, our Marine's pressure will be much less. That guy has an inexplicable power, and has the ability to make others help him. Sengoku's complexion was extremely dark, and every time he said a word, his complexion became darker. Kizaru, I support you. You did a good job. Garp ate his snack, completely ignoring Sengoku's brink of emotional outburst. What? Marshal Sengoku, don't look at me either. I have no choice but to. Before Summit War, everyone was on the actor list. I'm thinking about increasing Marine's overall strength. I also want to be on the list. Look at how impressive this supreme sharp knife is. If I have him, my combat power will be greatly improved, and there will be no harm to all benefits. While quibbling, Kizaru took out the reward he just got from the gold list. Immediately, everyone looked at each other in blank dismay, staring at that delicate samurai sword enviously. This reward is too good. We're all random trash devil fruit, or a blah blah blah. The difference between the top 5 rewards and the bottom 5 is too big. Aokiji complained, his eyes were extremely greedy. You must know that even if he is not very skilled in swordsmanship, he often transforms into ice knives as weapons. 100. Although the top was defeated, it became stronger. Ghost Logic, 6/6. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. If only he had the supreme sword. Aokiji, he could even learn it from scratch. You must know that the increase of the supreme sword against the swordsman is too great. It's not just Aokiji who thinks so. The thoughts in the minds of all the people present are similar, they are all greedy. Humph. You can fool me, and I won't be called the resourceful general. Looking at the weapon on the table, Sengoku was amazed again and again, but he continued to press. 3 years and 3 years, what does it mean to become an entertainer? Sengoku fixed his eyes on Kizaru, and asked lightly. Kizaru was caught by Sengoku's aggressive gaze, and developed himself. My heart became alert instantly, and my acting skills immediately possessed me. I don't know either. The understanding of this sentence is, I have worked hard for many years. It's finally the beginning of the show. But I didn't play it, Sengoku, you know. After all, Senior Garp, treat me well. Even if Luffy is on the enemy side, I have no reason to kill him. And that kid Luffy hasn't done anything bad. Kizaru explained with an innocent face. Voice down. Immediately, everyone present was taken aback, and they began to ponder in their hearts. Indeed, think about it in another way, if it is them, it will also hinder Garp's face. Just teach the other party a lesson, it is definitely impossible to kill the other party. It's the old man's reason, I'm sorry. Advertisement. It's troubled everyone, the old man is here to thank everyone. Garp also became serious at this time, feeling extremely guilty. In my heart, I also hate that iron cannot become steel. Where is it? There are so many pirates in the sea waiting for us to catch. We are not short of this one or two. The corners of Aokiji's lips curled up, agreeing. Boom. At this moment, Sengoku finally couldn't bear it, and suddenly slammed the table. Remind everyone not to be too blatant, don't take this marshal who is about to retire. Grunt. Kizaru swallowed subconsciously at this sudden blow. Still watching him, Sengoku apparently believed his explanation. Suddenly he breathed a sigh of relief. Harmful. Forget it, our immediate goal is to rebuild Marine. Sengoku sighed helplessly when he saw the crowd shut up. Feeling a little headache, he touched his head. Today's Marine is really full of desolation. It's not just the loss of a very strategically important area of Marineford. Even the power of the heart is completely wiped out. Now our Marine's combat power is not 1 out of 10. The number of pirates in this sea is still increasing day by day, and the Akatsuki organization wiped out so many Marines at will. He keeps saying that he is for justice, and I always feel that the guy who ranks first in the combat power list. His plan is definitely not good for us, extremely bad. Sengoku looked worried, always worried. This is also the reason why he has frequently held combat meetings these days, and he feels the time urgency for Marine all the time. Advertisement. Sengoku. Garp on the side opened his mouth, wanting to comfort him. But when the words came to my lips, I didn't know how to speak. Sengoku, you don't have to worry too much. Although our Marine suffered heavy losses after the Summit War, the strength of our Marine has been improving all the time. As Crane Vice Admiral, who has worked together for many years, he encouraged Kai. She was afraid that Sengoku would bear too much pressure alone and crush herself. It will be even more unfavorable to Marine at that time. Crane Vice Admiral, thank you for your kindness, you don't need to comfort me. Anyone with a discerning eye can see the current situation. Sengoku shook his head, noncommittal. No, our Marine's combat power is improving. If it is calculated by the overall combat power. Crane Vice Admiral shook his head and said firmly again. Okay. At this time, everyone finally became curious. Crane Vice Admiral repeatedly emphasized that these are not comforting words. Why do you say that? Sengoku's eyes lit up, and he hurriedly asked. 0 for flowers. Our Marine's original main force is the 3 Marines Admiral, Akainu, Kizaru, and Aokiji. And you, Marshal Sengoku, and Garp. Vice Admiral and Admiral alternates don't count. Plus the Marines of various official ranks less than 200,000 yuan. Am I right? Crane, Vice Admiral, was in no hurry to answer. Advertisement. Obviously, it can't be explained clearly in a few words, it can only be explained. Okay. Seeing everyone nodding, Crane Vice Admiral cleared his throat and continued speaking. And what about us now? More than 10,000 Marine soldiers. Peak combat power. Senior Empty, General. Also Aokiji, Kizaru, Fujitora, Green Bull. Sengoku replied dully, he didn't know why this counted as a promotion. You must know that what Marine has always lacked is not top-level combat power. The era of 3 admirals is also completely sufficient. What Marine lacks is a large number of Marine soldiers, or a legendary battle record like Garp. That's right, although we sacrificed an admiral with top combat power. When Crane Vice Admiral said this, his complexion darkened. But it was quickly adjusted. But our Marine has more combat power of Sora and Fujitora. We can resist the configuration of the main group of 4 emperors at the same time just by deploying the battle power of the emperor level. Previously we could only contend against the strength of the 4 emperors. Because of the Shao organization's declaration of war, the combat power allocated to me by the world government has allowed us to achieve unprecedented development. Crane Vice Admiral said, his eyes revealing everything. However, soon she was questioned again by Sengoku. But we just lost to the Akatsuki organization and lost 200,000 troops. Let's not talk about facing 4 emperors at the same time, even if it's 2, we're not enough. Sengoku shook his head, non-committal. But don't we still have the reward of the gold list? Previously Garp was on the power list, and then Garp, Kizaru, Aokiji, Fujitora, including Sengoku, you were also on the actor list. Crane Vice Admiral gestured to the other party with his eyes, and continued to listen to her explanation.